It's alright, alright, alright. Listen, babe. Oh, yeah. 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 It's alright. It's alright, alright, alright. Listen, babe. Oh, yeah. It's alright, alright, alright. Listen, babe. Oh, yeah. It's alright, alright, alright.
Test, test, test.
It is the year of hope anymore. This
Nah,
is the Hope Academy.
there we go.
Welcome everyone. This is the start of a new project. We've been around for 7 years, but what we're going to do now is focus on a whole different approach to education. And we're going to get into a full out introduction because today's class is pretty much an orientation with a lot of lessons built into it. And because the class is not designed to be 1 year anymore. In the past, we said 1 year, but we set the wrong expectations for what is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is really a continuum. And so to say 1 year, we sent the message that to become an entrepreneur, you just needed to level up, not to just and then, which was the wrong message, right? Because ultimately, entrepreneurship is a practice. And so we put this program called Hope Academy that doesn't put a time limit on the time it takes for people to get the message or to understand the knowledge. But then in addition to that, even once you receive the knowledge, you have to have a group that you belong to sustain the knowledge. And so this is the beginning of a new structure that we are introducing called the Hope Academy. And so with that being said, can we go to the slide, our first slide? So let me go over some of the early logistics around the Hope Academy. The Hope class is 1 day a week on Wednesday evenings for approximately 3 hours. And in those 3 hours, we will engage in discussions, exercises, and practices and lecture series towards developing entrepreneurship skills. Two, I want to thank directly Alameda College. Alameda College, so as we all know that Hope is an African-American program designed to challenge the impact of slavery, Jim Crowism, and the crack era. And we're here teaching it in Alameda. Anybody know about the history of Alameda? Man, look, Alameda used to chase our black ass out of there. Back in the days, we used to ride our bicycle over the bridge, and the cops would put a light on us and say, take your ass back to Oakland. Police officers. That's in my lifetime. And the College of Alameda is a whole different, well, Alameda's changing, period. But College of Alameda heard about what we were doing, and they say, hey, let's team up to impact the community. So, you know, those of you who are listening to our voice online, make sure you give College of Alameda a nod. Also, for those of you who don't know, if there's something you want to tighten your skills up in, Alameda is offering for the first credit free $500 if you take a class. If you just take one class, they give you $500 for taking a class. And they actually have some dope courses here. They even have a room for those of you who like to create stuff, want to cut stuff with wood, plastic, clothing, design clothing. They even have a fashion department upstairs that is cold-blooded. So I deeply want to thank Alameda College and especially Stephanie Bradshaw. Stephanie has been riding with us really hard. Stephanie works for Alameda County, Alameda College, and she really was spearheading. I also want to thank the Dean of Business and a couple of other deans also supported this process. And now you want to thank the janitorial and the security team because they ride with us strong. So the love that we get here in Alameda, the support they're giving towards growing and developing and enhancing the Black community is an absolute plus. I know a lot of times we don't acknowledge people who are friendly to our communities and try to support our communities. And so Alameda College not only is supportive, but they're also trying to drive innovation and do different things and try new things. And so it's one of those things where I challenge you to just look them up. And if there's something you want to try out, come here. The support, the staff, the folks that are here, this is really a dope spot. It's a dope place. So once again, I just want to say deep thank you. And I just want to go quickly over some light etiquette. Make sure, we keep this place as clean as possible. We want to show absolute love and support for the school as well. There's bathrooms down the hall for everybody who needs to use the restrooms. And treat all people around here as kind as possible. Nice parking lot that is very safe space to park your car. Alameda's like that. Everybody knows that's another benefit of being in Alameda is pretty damn safe. I'm leaving it alone, Oakland. And so just show the highest level of respect for staff and people around here. Everybody's really hands off and respectful and kind to Phi Theta Media and the whole program. But I want us to always show the highest level of class as we move in and out of this space here. I mean, they provide super fast internet for us. We're not paying for electricity. We're not paying for janitorial service. I didn't have to purchase these tables and chairs. I brought my own streaming equipment, but we even use one of their computers and their fancy projectors that are on the multiple walls, right? That's all love of Alameda. I don't know. If anybody who's ever had to pay for space should know that's deep, deep, deep love. And so, just like I said, there's ever a chance to repay the thank, or just to repay the gratitude, just make that happen. So with that being said, let's move on to the next slide. So I guess it's time for introduction. You wanna start the introduction?
What's good? What's happening? I don't know if for those online. I would say then that don't know me. My name is Courtney Smith. I've been teaching Hope with you for what is this, 4th year now?
Yeah.
Year 4.
Yeah.
Currently, I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I have a clothing athletic brand called Court Smith. You can look that thing up, courtsmith.com. I'm in my 9th year, and we're growing pretty fast in terms of how we're scaling out this year. And the reason why I'm here really is because throughout my journey as an entrepreneur, I have a deep love for my people, and I see the huge disparity between where we are as a culture and where other cultures are going. And I feel like if I'm having I felt that if I'm having a measure of any kind of measure of success, then it's part of my responsibility to continue to reach back, because it's somebody reaching back for me. So we, as a company, I have about 13 employees now, and we moving pretty fast. And most of the stuff that I've used to help scale my company is stuff that we teach here and stuff that I learned here. So that's it for me.
Yeah, and my name is Nana Kofenti, and the name is Ghanaian, so just remember Nana. It makes it easier for you. And born and raised in Oakland, graduated from Castlemont, came up during the 80s. They can tell you my age. And I was a person that was, at the age of 22, super pro-black. And for about 10 or 15 years, I walked around being extremely militant. I'm talking about daishiki, kill the white man. And and at some point, you realize it was self-destructive, because as I got angry, every day I became more and more angry at white supremacy. It weighed on me. So I was done with it. It's like if you hit a tree, yeah, it may cause some damage to the tree, but you're breaking your knuckles, right? And so, so then at some point I realized I used to be the guy that would go to the Berkeley flea market and would sit around and just talk all day long about what black people need to do. And then I realized at some point, in order for me to have community impact, I had to learn how to build. So it was 18 years ago, I started the beginning of what was to become 510 Media. And on this 18-year journey, I've learned so much. So now I own a company called 510 Media, and we're a multi-million-dollar firm. And there's only 9 of us, because of COVID. We kind of chiseled everything back because of COVID, and we're pretty much a behavior science branding firm. And as a behavior science branding firm, what we practice is, how do we nudge human behavior? How do we influence human behavior? How do we design human behavior? We look at systems to shape the output, as well as we look at how do we influence people to make purchases, or to change their behavior, or to change the way they're processing their reality. So we sit in this unique intersection of human designs. And because we are always working with human designs, 7 years ago, I was sitting at the desk with my business partner, and I said to him, "Hey, man, black people don't know this stuff that we use every day in large corporations. It's not the lingo. It's not the barbershops. It's not the churches. It's not on television at all. It's not on social media. Nowhere to be found. I think I want to teach it." And my business partner said, "Well, when you want to start?" I said, "Oh, let's start next week." And the first year, it was just pretty much testimonies. Hey, this is This is what entrepreneurship is. But the testimonies was really just sharing my experiences and my stories. And over the 7 years of teaching and my personal study habits, which is an hour and a half a day I study, I've grown to actually be able to share these ideas and serve you. So that's pretty much who we are in a nutshell. We can go to the next slide, if you don't mind, Shabisha. We're going to go over real quick some of the benefits. And at any point, if there's any questions online as well as in person, we'll take a second and we will acknowledge those questions. The thing that's going to be different about this year in class is going to be a lot more discussions. A lot more discussions. We're going to have in-class exercises versus outside class exercises. So let's jump into the benefits of Hope Academy. Next slide. We go one at a time. So, in court, chime in anytime you want, or just do that famous. Let me take this one. Court is court. Hey, he does it like, I swear to God, like we a rap group. He's like, yo, let me get this one. Let me get him. Let me say this first, and I think this is me and Court, because we've been doing this together now for 4 years. We get a chance to engage in a lot of dialogue, and we get a chance to look at the industry on entrepreneurship development. I'm gonna say something that's very bold here, and it may offend some people, but guess what? I can't make everybody feel good. I'm sorry. Some of y'all are really fragile. But most entrepreneurship programs are trash. I'm gonna let that sit for a second. Most entrepreneur programs are trash. And the reason for that is because good people are giving you bad information. And I do mean exactly what I just said. I don't believe in bad people. Good people with good intent who mean the best are giving you wrong information. And this is why. Entrepreneurship is a shift in consciousness. The working class consciousness, the corporate consciousness that you need to have to survive in those environments does not translate to entrepreneurship consciousness. But often the people who are teaching these entrepreneur programs are still within the working class or corporate consciousness or the academic, in theory, consciousness. And so even when they're reading the information, there's a difference. Is everybody can share the same content, but everybody can't give you the same context. So what we realize is that you cannot continue to try to hold on to your old consciousness to move into this entrepreneurship consciousness. It's literally a different state of being. You can read the same books, but if you're in a working class consciousness, your interpretation of what you're reading is going to be totally different than an entrepreneur who's in an entrepreneur consciousness. And entrepreneur consciousness is never highlighted in most of these programs because they don't even know what that is, because they didn't know that's the opposite thing. In a corporate consciousness, just briefly, I'm going to give one example, and just as something you can hold on to. In corporate consciousness, you're basing a lot of your decisions and ideas around pre-designed structure. As an entrepreneur, you create the structure. You don't get to blame somebody else. You are the first point, or if there's something going wrong in your life, then the person you want to consult with first is yourself. That's a big difference. Where in corporate America, you have all these systems in place, academic, all these systems in place that can actually help you navigate. Neither one is inferior or superior. It's a shift in consciousness.
Question for you. Have you ever been in a situation where you knew you were better at something than somebody else, but they looked like they was just performing? They got all the benefits, the money, the accolades and all those things, but you knew that you were better. Have you ever been in those situations and you sitting in your room or at home and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like how are they there and I'm here and I know I'm better than them? It's not skill set. It's not intelligence. It's
Not
consciousness.
intelligence. Not intelligence. That's so important.
It's consciousness. So when you may be more skilled, you may be more intelligent. Your IQ might be higher, but you're not on that. You don't match the consciousness of what you need to be successful. Consciousness is another word for rhythm. So entrepreneurship is a rhythm. And you may have all the technical skills, but your ass is dancing off beat. You dancing off beat. And everybody who's an entrepreneur is like, nah, I wouldn't pick you because you dancing off beat, but you can't see that you dancing off beat. And you have to be around entrepreneurs to learn entrepreneurship rhythms. That's why when it comes to doctors, you can't just go to school to be a doctor. You need a residency. That means before you touch any human being, you need to spend time at this hospital as a rookie, tinkering, playing, testing, and getting real-time on-the-job training. That book shit is good for books and for knowledge, but you have to physically do it. Same thing here. There's nothing in entrepreneurship that exists outside of the highest level colleges like this, that you got entrepreneurs teaching you entrepreneurship. And it's not just theory, but it's the rhythm, because everybody in here is trying to achieve the same goal.
Yeah, shout out to the D program that's located at Stanford, which is almost a parallel program to what we're going to teach here. If you look at there's a D program, there's an entrepreneurship program at Stanford that has raised $1.1 billion. I'm no envy here, baby. I respect the game. 1.1 billion, but their performance rate and their production is amazing. But it's almost a parallel of what we're going to teach you here. And it was started by two individuals who are corporate consultants and business consultants who run their own company that realized, hey, Stanford, this is not entrepreneurship, what you're teaching here. And they came in to revolutionize the program. And that's kind of what happened with me and Court. We look around, we say every year, if we could find one program that's doing this and teaching it from an entrepreneur perspective by other entrepreneurs, we're going to push our whole class to that, right? Because we did this because there's this gap in the industry that's causing suffering. Because I think we have a lot of intelligent people that don't realize you need to change your consciousness. So then they think it's something wrong with their intelligence, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with your intelligence. Like last year, we had students, which are still with us, students last year that couldn't get a lot of this entrepreneurial stuff right away, but when they would write in some of their homework, were brilliant people. I'm talking about extremely, like I'm reading some of their notes from their homework, applauding in the background, but they just could not translate because they wanted to hold on to their old consciousness. Next slide. Another thing too, so why was Hope also started? Hope was designed to reverse the impact of slavery, Jim Crow, and the crack era. We don't really realize the impact of those three eras on our culture. Now, mind you, I want to say something that's going to make some people, once again, be uncomfortable. All people have fucked up passes.
By the way, we cuss like sailors sometimes. So if the new people, you shocked right now, just know that.
Yeah, just like act like that.
She's
that
appalled.
Just
Somebody just got up and walked out.
Well, that's Josh because he's hungry. But the point is this. But the thing is that, by the way, we ordered some food for you guys. So we said, you know what, we're going to bring some food in. So Josh, stop eating donuts. So the thing is that if Josh goes into a diabetes pass out, just know he done ate about 4 donuts since we've been here. He act like he's a police officer. Anyway, point is this. So now I'm going to get started. So, let me get back to the serious shit. So first of all, we recognize that all people have been through something. The unique experience that African Americans have been through in this country is that when you've been a working class your whole life, you develop the lens of a working class people. And even when you start your own business, you think about, I got to work really, really hard. I got to prove myself. I got to show I'm valuable, right? And all those type of ways of thinking, and I'm talking about there's a plethora of challenges that come from our past that we've actually normalized. Some of them we even grown fond of, or we have affection for, or we show love through, or we use as banners of value in our community. A lot of those ideas compromise our ability to build a business. And so we realize that as we design this program, it has to be designed to undermine that long-term impact. Next slide.
Navigating uncertainty. So one thing for certain in entrepreneurship is uncertainty. So what's for sure gonna happen is we got to get you out your comfort zone, because getting comfortable being uncomfortable and becoming strong in that is one of the best tools you can have as an entrepreneur, period. So that if things hit you left, right, the word pivot doesn't make you have a traumatic episode, because over time as an entrepreneur, you know that's part of the game. So one of the tools that we're going to teach this year is helping you to navigate uncertainty in a way you've never done it before. Because most of us black folks, we've had to respond to uncertainty because life has hit us, right? Not enough money to pay this, drama, this type of issue. So we've lived our childhood responding, reacting to uncertainty. But as an entrepreneur, navigating is different. You knew that was going to happen, or something slightly. Or if it did happen, your ability to turn your attention to the solution is much quicker. And that's what we're going to teach.
So make it really simple to complement what Court just said. Absolutely, 100%. You go to elementary school, yellow brick road. High school, yellow brick road. College, follow the yellow brick road. Corporate job, yellow brick, follow the yellow brick road. Entrepreneurship, no yellow brick roads at all. I drop you in the middle of the forest, figure it out. That's a deep level of uncertainty a lot of you cannot navigate. And so what's so important about that is that that level of how to navigate, walk, make decisions, and function in a space of uncertainty is extremely uncomfortable for all human beings. All human beings. But for entrepreneurs, we have to learn to actually swim in that river. Next one. Leadership development. So there is a different level of development. You know, we always hear about self-development, right? So I took this self-development course, right? Well, in Hope, we're going to actually take it up another level of how to develop your emotional state, your personality, and your values around leadership development. Let me make this really fast, because once again, we're going to dive into this. Like, once again, this is an academy. That means there's not 1 year. There's a reason this thing takes a long time, because we're going to cover so much stuff, and we're going to help you guys practice and get it for yourself. But as a leader, when you show up in the office with a great idea, but the wrong mindset, you compromise your own ideas. Mm-hmm. You set the tone for how your employees work every day. You even can destroy the creativity of your work environment by the way you open your mouth. You got to remember, you're the person that can fire everybody in that room. So if your comments are incorrect, the way you show up is inappropriate, even if you're just excited about something. You know what, guys, I got this great idea. Guess what? There's no more great ideas will come out that room. You know why? Because now you just flooded their brain with your idea, and they're going to spend the rest of their brain power trying to make your idea work. So you're going to have to learn how to be and exist in your space as a leader so you can maximize the people you hire, which are the most valuable assets in your business. And if you don't have your leadership development game on point, you will often compromise your team from a space of good intent.
Also is this. We're moving into a different era really fast, right? You got AI, you guys heard of the Chat GPT stuff.
Love it.
You got all the new technology that's approaching, that's replacing people's jobs, right? Right? You know whose jobs don't get replaced? Leaders. You know whose jobs don't get replaced? Leaders. So this piece right here is job security for the ones who just want to be better at the corporate jobs or a job, but it's also better for you as an entrepreneur, because The world is in a deficit of leaders. They got a lot of skill set folks. This job, that job, this skill, go to school for this, go to school for that. But good leaders, great leaders, they're a dime a dozen. So pay full attention to this, because you developing as a leader ensures that you're gonna eat. When a robot take whatever, well, that's cool, but a robot can't diffuse emotions and find the right priorities within the team and get them to execute and run through a wall for you. And CEOs and people who own companies like us love those kind of people. What you want? You want, okay, you want, I'll give you more. Okay, you want those days off? Okay, cool. Ramadan, fine, you got it. Because good leaders are hard to come by.
Yeah. Next slide. This is going to blow you. This is a part of class. There's a certain portion of this course that's going to feel like alchemy. It's going to feel like magic to you, because a large portion of business, especially as you grow something, is invisible. A large portion of business are intangibles. And the problem with that is that when you're a working class culture, you kind of base most of your rational thinking on the tangibles. But when you get into the world of building something, you have to raise the value of the intangibles. And what you're going to discover is that it's going to get to a point in this class, you're going to learn so many intangibles that it's going to remove you from a lot of public conversations, because you can see things that are so removed from the visibility of the masses. And that's what a lot of leaders, so when you see people building great things, it's not because they're part of Illuminati or their race is blessed higher by God. It's because they understand the intangibles, and you're still basing your principles on the tangibles. And that's one of the residue of the slavery, Jim Crowism, and the crack era, is that we're very tangible heavy in the way that we talk, we think. But in the world of business, there's so many intangible things. Even your brain, whether you know it or not, as you look at me right now, there's a part of my face that's clearly, you can see the texture of my nose. Things outside of what you're looking at right now, your brain is actually filling it in. You don't see it. We know that. And guess what? That's where con artists live. If you're a con artist, you live between the space of what you see and what you can't see. Mm. And so in this class, we're going to introduce those intangibles, which is going to give you the ability to see things, to build things and create things in a world that's almost intangible in some of the ways it's designed.
Yeah, so speaking of con artists, it's most of the time, I mean, how many people have, this is not their only self-development, personal development, entrepreneurial class they've gone to? How many people have done a lot of shit? So a few. Yeah. The point I'm getting to is that a lot of times we go to people wanting the 10 steps or the 12 things or the big rocks. But here's the secret. Most of all the big rocks are the same. The money is not in the big rocks. Your success ain't in the big rocks. Because most of the big rocks, people kind of know anyway, because it's big. You can see it. It's right here, right?
Work hard. I thought it was.
Work hard. Like, it's shit that you know. Where the money is, where your success is in the intangibles. It's in the small pieces, the stuff that can fall through your fingers if you don't know how to look for it. It's in the small rocks. It's in the tiny rocks, the little pieces of sand. It's not in the 10 steps. It's not. You already know the 10 steps. That's why you do the 10 steps and the shit don't work, right? And you're like, it's in between those, each step. It's in between. So how do I know what to look for? What am I looking for? What color is it? So this is a class of, we'll let them cats give you the 10 steps. We're going to teach you the intangibles in between that, the small things, the 3-degree tweaks that make a huge butterfly effect on your business that you never even thought. You might be doing something that's been detrimental to your business this whole time and it's tiny. So this is just as important.
You know what's so funny, Court? If folks were able to see the intangibles, a lot of movements wouldn't exist as like there would be no social justice movement. It wouldn't be the same. There'd be a lot of things that we get angry about is because we can't see the intangibles. Once you see the intangibles, the story looks totally different. And you'll find a lot of times, a lot of our introductions, a lot of our friction that we see in society is because we can't see. Once you learn to see, you realize, I don't know how to have that friction with you.
And real fast, I got disheartened, teaching this class at times because I love our folks and I want to see people grow fast. Let's get there. And a lot of times they like, hey, Court, let me talk to you on the side and get some game from you. And I give them game, but it was too simple for them. They like, that's too small. I need a big step. And I'm like, no, this is this tiny thing. Take it. Oh man, I need some long words, or I need that shit to rhyme or something. Cause this ain't it. And I'm like, I'm telling you, cuz this is it. And a lot of times they wouldn't take the advice because it wasn't fancy enough. But like I say, the money is in the intangibles.
Perfect. That's next slide. So in this class, we will set your expectations. In entrepreneurship, a lot of us want to keep our life the same, but somehow benefit from a change. We want to keep our same habits, our same rhythms, our same lifestyle. If you decide to become an entrepreneur, it's similar to deciding to become a doctor. Expect a life disruption. It's going to be scary at first, but I promise you it will be so worth it in the end. I had a young man here that we trained back in the days. Young man, we used to call him Goose. Young African-American male dude. He was like a little model. Matter of fact, we did some photo shoots with him one time. And he doubted the entrepreneurship game and decided to go get a job. He's working at Macy's, jumping on the train and going on to Macy's and putting his hours in. And his first check for the first week came in, it was $200 some odd. And I looked at him and I said, remember when you used to make that in 1 hour? Usually, if you just did one job a week, you make it more than you was making at Macy's. The reality is that a lot of times, a lot of our freedom and a lot of things that we have in life, we are not gaining. We have no idea the benefits of entrepreneurship, the amount of freedom that comes along with that. But freedom comes at the cost of freedom. In order for you to achieve freedom, you got to give up freedom. So this I call it the white liberal idea of freedom, which is I should just be able to be free, like you're an extension of the hippie culture. There's no such fucking thing. Freedom requires the sacrifice of freedom. And so there's going to be many disruptions in your life once you decide to take this path. Let me also say this too. You don't need to jump off the fucking cliffs. I'm tired of that damn phrase. Everybody will move into the game at different speed. Once you get close to that magnetic field, being that you're growing and you're starting to develop the knowledge, it'll pull you into it. It'll almost be the most comfortable jump you ever made. But if you go home right now because you didn't get that raise and you all mad and you feel like, yeah, I'm going to show them, I'm going to become my own entrepreneur, I want to stop that story that's happening in your brain and tell you, don't jump. That's called suicide now. Doesn't mean that you, like Court has jumped off cliffs and somehow this cat, they call him Angel Man.
I'd never do it again. I'd never do it again. Shit.
He figured out how to survive, but I would honestly tell you, there is a magnetic pull.
You see these bags under the eyes right here?
So there is a magnetic pull, but he's stupid. But I can honestly say that whole idea of you just jump and you will just discover it. There are steps you could take, so at least when you jump, there's a plan. and you can design it in a way. We will help you with that process as well. So we want to remove some of that superhero dialogue of, of all you need to do is, and it's just 6 easy steps, and like I said, and give yourself also permission to be gentle and respectful to yourself.
I think can we jump it? Can we do this real quick? It's gonna be quick. 2 things. One, you'll find that I am brutally honest about my past and my experience as an entrepreneur, just so that it paints a picture with you that this shit is not like roses, and you get to see an experience. So if me being completely brutally honest and in some way help you on your journey, it's worth the embarrassment. The second thing is, combined up here, we've been doing this shit combined about 40 years combined entrepreneurial experience. So if for some reason there's anybody out there that's tripping that he's wearing a hat and I'm wearing a beanie, like, you lose your ego, because you have a multi-million-dollar company and $1 million company is not to brag at all. It's to say we got tools and we're here to help you, and we're in this room with you, and don't trip off of maybe the whatever you might think on the outer. Is so much love for you to the point to where we will sacrifice our Wednesday nights with our families to do this for you, because we don't get paid like that to do this at all. So like, this brother has been killing it as an entrepreneur, and COVID has probably shattered a lot of you guys' businesses, maybe your dreams and hopes, and the stuff you can learn in this class will take you to the next level. So I just want to jump in there real quick before we continue, because if somebody still can't get over the fact, because some people we've experienced this. So I'm telling you, chill the fuck out and just stay and listen.
Yo, he came to New York. Next slide. In this class, we're going to introduce to you offensive thinking. If you come from poverty or a so-called minority class, which you'll see why I said it later on, you've practiced your whole life engaging in defensive thinking. And in order to build something and move something and compete, you have to learn offensive thinking. But let me say this. Once you learn offensive thinking, it will actually be opposite to your defensive thoughts. So I will introduce you to an offensive strategy. And let's say you've been an activist your whole life defending your community. It's going to be the opposite for the solution. So stopping something is one answer, but the opposite answer may be where you need to go to start something. And once you understand offensive thinking, if you don't understand how to build correctly, you can create the same thing you hate today. It's that cold. So you have to learn offensive thinking. And this is why a lot of times you hear, so, I said I've been pro-black since I was 22. I sat with John Henry Clark. I sat with Dr. Ben. I sat with Amos Wilson and Leonard Jeffries. And I can honestly tell you, most activists can't build shit because they're too weighted on the defensive thinking. Next slide, this is important. However, defensive thinking is required. It's both. It's not one or the other. It's just that at this point, if you come out of poverty because you've been trying to protect what you have, scarcity, right? Or you've been in a situation where you've been under attack by some type of system, or whether it's real or true, whether it's real or false or just perceived. You've been in defense mode. You may have been in defense in relationships. You might have been in defense in your neighborhoods, walking home, whatever it's been. If you're women, you might be in defense all the time at a level that men could never understand. And that's necessary. We're not trying to remove that. We're saying defense without offense gives defense poor context. That's it. Next slide. And you will learn so much offensive and defensive thinking. Design thinking. That's the thing that they're doing at Stanford that we're very similar. We're going to introduce design thinking, meaning that Some problems are not designed for you to solve by yourself. And if you think you have to, the pressure. So my sister came by today, and she's a lawyer, and she came to hang out with me. And my sister, the company asked her to take on this challenge that she's not even trained in. So she's a lawyer that's designed to deal with contracts. And they asked her to solve a PR problem. So she was getting stressed as she was getting answers, and the answers wasn't good enough. And she started getting more stressed, like, what do you want me to do to do it? And I said, check this out, sis, you're a lawyer still, right? Did you go to PR school since we last talked? No? Okay. So then you need to transfer ownership of that problem from yourself. This problem was never meant to be solved by one person. But here we go. But when you don't think you're good enough, you feel you need to be a hero to whatever problem lands on your plate. As an entrepreneur, you have to be able to say, wow, look at the magnitude of this problem. I don't know what the answer is. Let me put together a team and design a process to solve this problem that nobody on this team, no matter how smart we are, no matter how many degrees we have, no individual at this table was designed to solve by themselves. We're introducing ideation. And in the form of ideation, I'm going to show you that quite often, because of perfectionism or heroism or not feeling like you're good enough, often you I don't know what I'm looking for. You amplify your value too high towards the problem. And so what you find yourself trying to say is, if I can't solve it, oh, I might be stupid, or, oh my God, this is unsolvable, or maybe the system out there is too strong. We see this all the time in the Black community when we sit around and go, hey, what's wrong with this? What's going on with Black schools, or the history of how has systemic racism impacted our Black schools? And go, okay, everybody. So we ask Black folks, what's the problem is? And everybody will have a list bigger than the wall behind me. Then we say, well, what's the solution? And then there's only like 2 answers, if none at all. And then we say, oh, see, y'all playing. No. That problem was never meant to be solved by one person. And once you say that, you can design the smart systems to actually solve those problems. There's no problem, any problem that humans can solve, if you put the right group of people together in the room, and doesn't require a group of highly intelligent people. You need some people that's also highly ignorant, because ignorant people ask the best questions. So a balance of the right kind of people, the diversity. That's where, so when we talk about cultural diversity, this is where diversity should sit. Not that tokenism where they put a Black person in the seat, but don't want to hear shit from your Black ass. Diversity should be, I want your Black cultural experience to come to the table, share your ideas, so we can enhance the solution and the ideas that can solve these problems. So we're going to introduce how to solve some of the most complex problems you've ever witnessed in your community. We're going to show you how to design thinking to solve those problems. Next slide. This is, you can see why this class, we haven't even scratched, I'm only scratching the surface. You can see why this class takes a long time. Decision making. So this class, we're going to cover a lot of mental models. These are models of how the world works that's been working 10 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago. And learning these models will help you make better decisions and avoid the impact of your biases, trends, your emotions, hunger. Where in the fuck else can cause you make bad decisions? We're gonna give you these tools so you can run your decisions through these tools and improve the probability of your results.
Also, too, when it comes to decision making, this is a huge one. The reason being is this: a lot of us know what to do. A lot of us know what to do, basically, not entrepreneurially, but just say basically. But a lot of times we make bad decisions still, right? It's because when it comes to decision making, there's a couple elements to it. It's making the best decision for you, but it's also in the tension of the moment, being able to not be triggered by your fight, flight, or flee response times, so you can breathe and actually make the decision best for you. Because a lot of times you'll fight when you should have fled, you'll flee when you should have fought, you'll freeze when you should have did something else. It's because we're not consciously connected to our emotional agility tools yet to be able to even be in the moment to make those decisions. So it's again the intangible stuff that nobody talks about. That is part of this class. You say, hey, we're gonna help you make better decisions. But what goes into a decision? If you're in a road rage situation and somebody's flipping you off and honking they horn behind you, if you turn on your fuck around and find out personality, you're not thinking about what the best decision is. I've done that. And then when I look back to swerve, I realize my daughter's in the car seat in the back. Oh shit. Oh man, because good decisions and decisions in the tension is two different things, and we gonna go deep into that.
Next slide. Scaling. This class will introduce the principles of scaling. It's going to be introduced throughout the whole year. Scaling, let me just give you a basic premise of what scaling is. What works in your day-to-day life, which is micro, has no value in the world of scaling, which is meta and macro. Like, let's say you're raising one child. I think, Court, you talked about this last year. You're raising one child, pretty straightforward. It's not easy. Everybody knows that mother, father is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find out how much you don't know when you raise a kid real fast. Raise 9 kids.
Mm-hmm.
Raise 100 kids. You lose a lot of that control. You lose a lot of the time. You lose a lot of valuable assets, and you gain a lot of valuable assets. And you have to think about everything totally, totally different. This is why a lot of you guys sit and, like, if you ever had a corporate job and you sit with your peers and you talk about how much management sucks, if I was next to you, I'd walk away from you because you can't see management. Management struggles to see you too, but I promise you, you can't understand what they're looking at when they make their decisions. And sometimes you will even label it racism, sexism, homophobic, I don't know, whatever, trash, right? But quite often it's because you can't see what they see. Well, in this class, you're going to learn to see what they see. We're going to help you see the principles of scaling. Next one. That was Court to kind of highlight it and then kind of add to that. Humans, okay, your brain has one goal: keep you alive. It doesn't give a shit about no money, success. It doesn't even give a shit about your house, your car. To be strictly honest with you, you don't even give a shit about your woman or your man or whatever else in between, the days. So I don't know how to do that one. I'm working on that. I'm from East Oakland, y'all. You cancel me if you want. I just go back home. So anyway, so ain't nobody cancel me at 65th and McCarthy. What's gonna cancel you for? so anyway, the point is this. But let's say at the end of the day, your brain cares about one goal: survival. Success is forcing your brain to do something they don't want to do. It just wants to survive. And human beings respond to our instinct over our thinking all the time. Your rationale does not trump your instinct. If your body, you can be walking down the street right now in a beautiful suit, dressed up, clean as all outdoors. And if that bush shakes and you don't believe in snakes, you will not only leap, jump, fall, tear them goddamn pants, and run through walls. And then when you get through, you find out it was just a puppy. Your brain didn't take time to find that out. Your brain saw that shit moved, I'm out. Because your body goes into, I'm going to protect you, bro. That thinking shit takes too long. I'm going to legs, let's go. Let them think about this shit later on. Well, that happens in business all the time for you, your employees, your customers. And if you don't understand human instinct and how human instinct works, a lot of your assumptions on how the world works is flawed. Let me add this even better. When knowledge gets above the noise, it becomes corrupted. When knowledge goes above the noise, it becomes corrupted. So let's say you learn something like confirmation bias. But once it becomes popular, charismatic people start to take over the term. Large groups of people start to reinterpret it. The word starts to expand what it means. And before you know it means, I don't know what the fuck it means anymore.
Yo, this is another good one. Human behavior in business. You know why this is so important for you? Is because your goal is to get a customer to give you some money, right? So you have a product, you got an agenda. I got a product, a service, something that I'm selling. And my goal is to get a customer to give me their money. Now, a lot of us will do what we think we need to do, put the sign up, say what we selling. We practice on our craft, whatever that is, to be super good at it. And then be standing there like, damn, where's the customers at? Or why I only got two? Or why this? Is because you are your level of consciousness of how customers work is only limited by you. Once you learn to understand human behavior, you'll stop blaming circumstances, anybody. You'll be like, yeah, that was about right. That's what humans do. So then you'll be able to position yourself, your business, everything you do within the rhythm of where your customers are based on their behavior. And then that puts your bank account where you want it to be. Because if your customer, your study is, what are your customers doing right now? What are they watching right now? What shows they watching? Who are they texting? What clothes they got in their closet? What their bed look like? Who their friends? Like what time do they wake up in the morning? Once you get so obsessive with human behavior in terms of who they are and what they do and their patterns, now it's a different game for you. And that's what we're gonna teach.
Next slide.
Ooh.
So we're going to also introduce ego and belief management. Ego good, ego bad. Ego needs to be tamed. If ego's not tamed, ego will. So once we get into advanced strategy thinking, you're going to find that what often compromises most people's ability to use advanced strategy is ego. Your ego is the most hidden, most vicious destroyer of strategical thinking and working with large groups of people. And so even with large groups of customers, your ego is setting you up every damn day, and you never can stop managing it. Just because you learn about the ego and its impact and how it affects you, some of us think because we've had an episode where we controlled our ego, the ego is now subdued. You're going to find real fast is you will control your ego that day, and tomorrow your ego can be out of control. However, that same ego was able to afford you an opportunity in business. That same ego made you say, you know what? I'm going to try to start my own company, even though there's a 1% chance, or 3% chance, or 5% chance, or 10% chance I can be successful. So you need your ego to help you take on risk and take on challenges and innovate. But you also need to tame your ego to actually move the ball forward. And belief management. This is going. A lot of us are trapped. Our whole life is about living within our belief. We never take time to say to ourselves, but I can change the belief. And some of us are depressed, maybe in some cases traumatized, because we're stuck within a belief system. I would even argue that a lot of people never become entrepreneurs because they can't let go of the working class belief systems. A lot of us can't even find true happiness in life because our beliefs steal from our own personal happiness. And so in this class, we're going to introduce out the gate. That's the first book we're going to work on, is belief management or belief engineering. Because once you learn to engineer your beliefs, let me explain to you this. In business, what takes you to get you here, you can't use to get you here. And what gets you here, you can't use to get you here. And if you can't dump those goddamn beliefs like sound bags, you'll always be stuck right here.
Yeah. Where you are in your life right now, where we all are, our beliefs is what got us there. You are a sum total of your beliefs and the actions you take as a result of your beliefs. So if you want different results in life, then you have to take different actions. And in order to take different actions in life, you have to have a different set of beliefs. So typically the beliefs that you need are the ones that you're kind of balking against because you're so locked in on the ones that you're locked in on the ones you have now. And so part of the dislodge over the next this next season is telling you, man, if that belief don't work for you, fuck that belief.
Say again.
If that belief ain't working for you, fuck that belief.
You heard me.
Period. Because why would you allow it to continue to jail you if you're not getting the results in life you want? So again, that's another dope intangible that over time you're gonna realize this probably the first conversation we ever had in the decision to do this together was like we talked about beliefs. I'll throw my belief in a heartbeat when it stopped working for me. Or if I had an opportunity to upgrade my thinking, what, you too? Oh man, because that's rare, but that's how you grow. Why do you do that? Well, because my mom told me, or because that's how I was raised, or just because that's what black people do. Man, if you don't get that shit out my face, that's the thinking.
Yeah, you don't. You can let go of beliefs and realize you're not letting go of culture. Everybody can't be. You can't save the people if you're one of them. At some point, you got to climb to the mountain and at least be a Sherpa to take your people up the mountain. At least be a Sherpa. But you gotta also in culture is not mono. Like culture is hell diverse. Like I hate the phrase people of color. If this is your first time hearing this class, you're gonna hear a lot of shit from me. I hate that phrase, people of color. There's no such thing. In business, I don't know how to market. You know how to market to people of color? I don't know what the fuck that is. There's no demographics. When I look at black people, I don't even know how to market to black people, to be honest with you. Because there's so much diversity amongst black people. Black culture is a statement of black diversity. And in black diversity, there's levels to this game. You understand me? And in levels to this game, many of us are trying to run the culture as a private. We need some generals in this motherfucking game. And in order to be a general, that means you won't agree with all the ideas of the privates. That's just how it works. So in this class, you're trying to be a leader in this game. So I'm going to offend a lot of privates in this game. Like, I ain't going to get into my old language because you almost made me open and come out. But I'm not going there with that private, that low level shit. And if you want to say low level, hey, it's okay because sometimes there's a benefit to being low level. But in this class, this is designed for you to take on leadership. Leadership as an entrepreneur. Leadership in corporate America if you want to. Leadership in the community. Leadership in your fucking family. Women, men, you both are leaders in your family. And then last, leadership with yourself. And so in that space, I'm sorry, you can't be like the Joneses. That's not what we designed this here. I'm not here to rub your back and tell you everything's everything. Because I'm wasting your time and really wasting my time. Like anybody know me, my time is one thing you'll learn in this class, you gotta learn to raise the value of your time. If you call me right now and say, I need you to come by my house real quick, I need you to talk to you, I got $1,000. I'll look at you like, I'm not leaving my house for no fucking $1,000. You might, well, some people would, I get that. But I built myself up. You gotta get to the point where you value your time. Next slide. I'll get into some of it. We got a lot to cover. This is course favorite.
I don't need my glasses yet because these is big fonts.
Yo, that's a serious statement. He wasn't even trying to be funny.
No, I wasn't trying to be funny. I might not have to pull them out the whole class. Emotional intelligence. I mean, EQ is have you ever heard the term EQ? You know, EQ, emotional intelligence, is what we as black people need so much. We are a 0 to 100 culture. I go 0 to 100 real quick. And that's the way we move, and we celebrate that. We either super calm, super cool. I'm holding back. She better be glad I'm at work. She better be glad I'm at work, and I'm not gonna do nothing now. If she just knew, that's our culture. And then once we hit that tipping point, it is cool for us to flash, beat your ass, slap the shit out you, like do all those things, and that is our culture, right? In business, that don't work at all.
At all.
And I've tried it. Believe me,
At
I've
all.
tried it. And I've lost customers from it. And I have customers that never come back. Because in my growth as an entrepreneur, it was just the normality. But in business, you need emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is a tool you got to exercise. It's a muscle you got to work. It's things you do that gives you deep breaths, walk aways. Let me call you in 5 minutes. It's little tools you work on to put yourself in states where you can get the best results. And again, it's an intangible, because say, like he was talking about earlier, you show up to work as the leader, and it's one time you don't have that emotional agility, and you lightly cuss a customer out. Not only do you lose that customer, you lose that customer's network. Because how many times do you go on Yelp or whatever and say everything was fabulous, more so than the times you get on and say that was horrible service? Your horrible service reviews are probably 5 times more than that was a great experience, because people who have bad experiences will let the world know. So now you just fucked up a portion of your market. So this is your parachute to make sure that you are servicing your customers and your peers at the same time.
And let me say this.
Thank you.
Myth. Women are not more emotional than men. We're all emotional. It's no such thing. Those are myths. 2, emotional intelligence mean that you learn more about how emotions work. And for example, you grow your vocabulary, helps you control your emotions. You actually build boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
It helps you control your emotions. You learn to reframe. It helps you control your emotions. There's these tools you can use that you can almost actually find yourself removing that experience of your back against the wall. Because sometimes, when you get angry, you feel like your back is against the wall. So now you're like, oh shit. And then you be like, just fuck it, I'm gonna let it go, right? You can remove that whole scenario if you grow your emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And so being in a position where you can actually pivot on the drop of a dime. You can actually shift your ideas. You can actually change your opinion about certain things. You can actually broaden your perspective. You can actually become more curious before you're judgmental. All those type of adjustments will actually change the impact of your emotions. So realizing that, and last, we talked about this last, like the body keeps the score. You treat your body a certain kind of way, you will not have good control of your emotions.
Hey, and another point, as Black folks, we're put in a position in society in America where we have been marginalized. We're low. We're the lowest in society in terms of economics and how we've been treated, etc. So those of us who are here and those of us out there that are performing in life, you move with a certain energy, a certain aggressiveness, and a certain, we'll call it a sixth sense for bullshit, right? So we're always on guard, always on defense of our value. So because as a culture, we feel like we've been devalued, which a lot of us do feel devalued. So if you feel devalued, and if somebody got you fucked up, the first place you're gonna go is that they're not valuing me as a person. So I have the right to defend myself. Emotional agility kind of throws that stuff in the garbage. It says that may not even be what it is. They may just be negotiating with you. And just that's how negotiation tactics work. So I need to get my negotiation game up. Or so what that they slightly racist or slightly look at Black people in this way? What's the best angle where I could use this to my advantage to whoop their ass and get that bag? You see what I'm saying? Like, if you're in a state of crazy emotions, you can't calm yourself to even think that, whoa, that's kind of dope. He just slipped that word out. Oh man, we about to eat. Right? That's having a level of emotional agility or emotional intelligence allows you to now you can steer and maneuver much better.
Hey, by the way, there's pizzas just came in, so got some cheese and veggie pizzas back there. If you guys want to go and grab some plate, grab you some food. If I hear one stomach rumbling, I'm like, you doing too much. So, so next slide. That's the whole crew. Next is networking. By the way, I took that picture. Networking with Hope alumni. The other benefit of this class is that, and this is one of the most important benefits, is you're networking with other entrepreneurs. I can't begin. I know we have another. I'm gonna refrain from going deeper because we have another slide that's gonna go deeper to this point. But in hope, you will have an opportunity to network and engage and interact with other entrepreneurs. If you are an entrepreneur, you know that's fucking valuable as hell. If you're not an entrepreneur, you might be like, oh, that's nice. Oh, good. I can't wait to show my new business cards. All right, next slide. Other benefits class, we teach entrepreneurship from a social responsible angle. Meaning that we don't teach you how to make money and be a rapper with hella gold chains hurting your neck that you only wear when you're on camera because you can't walk down the street because it.
Tone Vic is mad. Tone Vic is offended by that.
So sorry, Tone. I'm sorry. It's just some days are over, bro. But can you? Is my microphone still on? It's still on, right? Okay, good. Sometimes it's just I don't hear the. There you go. I hear the bass. Anyway, point is this. We try to teach you how to grow entrepreneurship to impact the communities that you live in. Let me explain to you why that's important and how things are getting lost. We look at this .com culture that makes money, but often we don't see their presence in the community. And we think the name of the game is get paid, and if you have to leave your people behind, fuck it, I gotta do what I gotta do. But if you look at a city, and you say you're in an airplane, you look down, you see a big-ass city. In your brain, you want to believe that this is an organic evolution of human beings. It's not. 100 years ago, most of human culture was rural. Most people lived in the rural areas of the world. Cities are corporate constructs. They designed them as functional tools to help actually grow and design and run their businesses. The industrial age brought into existence cities. So if you want a better neighborhood in a corporate design space, you got to play some of these business games. And if you play the business game and you continue to extract without putting anything in, don't be surprised you don't even have customers or employees to pull from those same communities. That's why Henry Ford designed a community where they can buy his cars that they worked on. It's a problem, you can work on these cars, but you can't buy them. So he had to design a system so the average employee had the ability to purchase the car. Imagine right now you grow your business in Oakland and your family's in Oakland, or your family's in Chicago for online, or New York, or Atlanta, or Texas, or LA, or whatever the people that are online. And you become successful. But your nephews and your cousins are still dying in the inner city because no one's attending to it. It's not real. I can honestly tell you, after about $500,000 a year, I don't know what the fuck else you want. I really don't know what the fuck you want. I really don't know. Like, yeah, okay, let's just say you buy a really expensive car. Well, you probably wouldn't buy it because most entrepreneurs know you lease really expensive cars. It don't make no damn sense to buy it. It's a depreciating asset. I would never buy a depreciated asset. That doesn't even make sense to me. I invest. I don't buy broke shit. So at some point you realize you're gonna die. You don't live forever. Sorry, Sway. You gotta go. At some point you realize I gotta prep the ground my children will walk on. And if nobody reinvests in the environment they come from, then let's stop that story about, oh, what happened to black folks? We stop investing in ourselves. Schools get better when we invest. You know, somebody say, oh, and then I get into this later on about adulting versus adolescent versus the adult. But a lot of us will say, man, they didn't give us good schools. Adults and entrepreneurs say, We got schools? Shit. We got a head start. Because we could just be sitting around at people's houses learning. But we got this institution that requires us to reinvest in it. So as entrepreneurs, we realize that, hey, you are the governance of your community. You're the governance. You're the person that government is going to call sometime and say, hey, can we collaborate to create impact and change? Can you also help shift numbers? What you might not even have to pull money out your own pocket, but you sit amongst peers that we gave a small portion, we can drop 2 or 3 million here, a few million there, right? We are that impact. We are the leaders. Whether you pro-black or not, you will be impacted as leaders. And you could be that kind of entrepreneur that could just, but let me explain something to you. This is the reason that we designed it this way. We are most happy when we're giving. Human beings find our happiness in giving. If you think gaining a lot of money because you can have the highest status in the land is all it's going to take for you to be happy, you have a rude awakening coming. And we're not talking about that person right now who's just want to make enough money so they can eat every day comfortably and not at McDonald's. They want to eat at least, they want to be at least sometime go to Whole Foods. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about that person that now you making $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year, and you're like, I really want $2 million now. I want this much money now. And it's like at some point you're gonna find out the secret to all this is showing up for other people. That's the game. Next slide. We online, we in here, we are your servants. Let me say this again. We are your servants. That means we're not your leaders. We're here to serve you. We're not here to lead you. We're here to make you our peers as leaders. We have to go out. So do y'all know that truth is hard to find? No. Let me say it again because I said it kind of like smooth, like a rap album. Truth requires a lot of digging, a lot of reading, a lot of research. There's a lot of trash that sounds so good to the ear. There's a lot of false material out there. Pop science, pop business, pop marketing, all these pop design books that give you so much trash. Me and this man have committed and invest in seeking out the most richest material to transfer to you in this class. We refuse to push trash. This will never be a Gary Vee type course. This will never be a popular self-help guru type trash ass course. We are here to serve you, not using, let me make it very clear. If we were charging you, first of all, Hope is a nonprofit, 501c3. If you want to donate, think about that. 501c3. We only charge $75 to $50 a month for membership. Anybody knows a course like this, Stanford course that's similar to this, I think it's $1,500 to $1,700 a month.
She choked on her water. You all right, Kaja?
You okay, Kaja? We almost lost Kaja. Hey, girl, look here.
We don't know. Anybody know the Heimlich?
Yeah. So that 50 to 75 we know is nowhere near what this course is worth. We are serving you because we care about the communities we grew up in. We make our money from 510 Media. This doesn't raise our status. I don't leave here with posters of myself on any walls. I don't get accolades or any benefits from teaching this class. The benefits I give is changing your soul, which changes my soul. In our servitude, we don't get subsidized by anybody. So the low amount of money we charge you as a 501c3 doesn't offer us a lot of value that way. Our value comes from truly serving you. That means we are committed to making sure that we don't transfer quick information that sounds good but has no value. We make sure that we're always learning to grow this class. Every year we find something that we thought was right, even in our discoveries that was wrong, and we dump it the next year. This class never stays the same. It always changes year and year and year. It will never stay the same because as we discover new, we will take that we will use that new information to improve the class. We also watch how you are performing in your life. We will look at your business, your money, how your performance is going. If we don't see growth, we will ask ourselves, what is it that we're not doing, not what is wrong with you? Because why? We are here to serve you.
Yeah, and I'm going to take the opposite side of the same equation, which means that we are not your gurus or none of that shit. We are not your moral leaders. We are two brothers from the hood that have our own weaknesses, strengths, things we've been through, stuff that we're working on, and we're on the same journey with you. We're just giving tools along the way. So the beauty of the goals that we have is to see more people like us at the top, more people like us that we can network with, that we can grow and build our communities together. That's it. So a lot of times as humans, behavioral science, right? Studying human behaviors, you know that we are wired a lot of times to hero worship stuff. And when you hero worship, you expect perfection from those people. You expect perfection in how they talk, how they look, how they dress, how they act, how they speak to you, and all those things give you it opens the door to your ears to listen and believe. But a lot of times that gets caught in like kind of a religious feel, and that's not what we're doing. That's not why we're here. We are here to serve you. There's certain things that people have asked me, and I say, look, I am not equipped to answer that question, because I've took too many L's in that part of my life to even give you the answers. If we go over here and talk entrepreneurship, this, that, I can give you all the game, because we're figuring life out in a lot of ways too. So I want to, that's room for more clarification for us. We are your servants, and we're saying that in the most humble way. In the most humble way, meaning, like Andre 3000 say, like, nobody's free when others are oppressed. Like, you know, the love we have for our culture gives us the desire to donate time and energy into helping build the culture up. So,
next slide. Now, I need to ask you guys for something. I need you guys to show up with trust and curiosity. Now, I know we have to earn your trust. I'm not assuming that I'm entitled to your trust. But I need you to show up with trust and curiosity. Why? Because I'm going to piss you off at some point. But I'm not really pissing you off because I don't even know you like that. It's that I'm going to challenge something you believe in, and you're going to personalize it in your head. He's attacking me. He doesn't like me. He doesn't value where I come from. Oh my God, he hurt my feelings. I don't even know your fucking feelings. But you got to trust the process, because in order for you to go somewhere different, you got to learn something different. You got to become something different. And becoming different for human beings, change is offensive. Mm-hmm. We get offended when somebody tells us to change. I know I tell my daughter sometimes, change your outfit. That's like telling a Christian to go to hell. Man, the response I get from her is like, oh, you lost your mind. Change is hard. But many of you are going to show up in a space of trying to protect yourself. You ain't gonna let them hurt me, offend me. Mm-hmm. They better not challenge my ideas. As a Pentecostal Christian on the third level of the Rock of Gibraltar, they better not say these three words. Right? It's like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say all those goddamn words. Mm-hmm. Don't compare us. A lot of you gonna come in here and compare. But you know, in this class they said this, and this they said that. That's also a defense mechanism. And last, many of you guys just stay in a space of defense because it's just worked for you this far. Mm. You feel safe in defense. You don't know how to just open up and let things in. And now I'm not asking you to do this just for us. You got to learn how to move like this as an entrepreneur, period. Mm.
In today's age, right, we're over inundated with information. Anybody with a mic and a phone can be an expert at something, right? So, and if they're charismatic enough, attractive enough, and they know some of the key words, sometimes it gets confusing as to who's right, who's wrong. right? You'll have a PhD saying keto diet is the best shit ever, and a PhD saying keto diet will kill you. So then who do you listen to, right? Who do you listen to? Because no one has definitive long-term evidence, and it may be evidence on both sides. So defensiveness can be natural, right? So what we like to do is we talk about receipts, right? Receipts. Do not go randomly listening to what people say with their mouths and how they look. Look at the receipts. Look at the context. So show me your receipts. Oh, that shit sounds really good. Show me your receipts. And he's really good at that. He like, oh yeah, man, that story was great. I even shed a tear. Okay, show me the receipts. And you're like, but like, let me tell you the story again. No, you told me the story. Story was good. I cried. But now let's talk about your receipts. And so we're receipt-based. This is receipt-based. These are two entrepreneurs up here talking that's actively moving in the game, that has successes, failures, rises, and falls just like everybody else. But we in a battle with y'all. So over time, learn to... Curiosity is a beautiful word. Curiosity, like if I told you, man, I met this person, she was really a curious person. And I said, I met this other person, she was really a naive person. Who you think went upstairs when they heard a noise blindly with no weapon? The naive one, right? Curiosity, you still smart. You're still smart. You're still opening, like, oh, let me peek my head slow. So it allows you to gather data and form information so that you can make the next logical decision next. We want to be curious. It's hard to lose when you're curious. But if you don't come at us with a level of curiosity, a level of trust first, and give us an opportunity to show you, then it's going to be hard to listen to anything we say. It's just the truth.
Tight as hell. You know, it's just real quick on curiosity. I'll show you how I use it in business all the time. Say I'm talking to Tone Vic. Anybody that doesn't know the famous Tone Vic, he's going to become famous because he's famous. But so we talked to famous Tone Vic, and Tone Vic says, "None, I disagree with your premise." I share some idea with him. He goes, "Absolutely disagree." Defense says, well, and goes to try to argue your point. Curiosity says, why you disagree? Share with me more. Defense says, I don't feel like I'm good enough. You're not about to trump me. Curiosity says, no, I know I'm great, but I don't know everything. So let me hear what you're talking about. That's the big difference. Huge difference. So practicing the curiosity game, or I had a situation where there's a member of my team and I was like, yo, man, you did this wrong. And he said, oh, but this happened. I don't need to hear defense. I need to ask you deeper what happened. Meaning, let's explore, like, how did this even get here? But when you go into defense mode, then what happens is you actually start to compromise systems in your side, your business, because everybody is speaking from a space of protecting themselves, and you don't get a chance to explore better design systems because it requires a level of curiosity. So defense thinking, especially as a leader, is destructive from top to bottom for your innovation, your strategy, your discoveries, harnessing the power of your team, self-development. You literally cut all of those off at the gate. So curiosity over defense is fucking a basic requirement of entrepreneurship. You could be wrong and not be devalued. You could be wrong and not be devalued. But many of us think once we're wrong, our value has been dropped. Because some of us told us that value is only, the premise of all value is intelligence. And you're gonna realize that in the world, once you understand how intelligence works, all of us are smart and all of us are stupid, and if you're a human being, you should be comfortable with it. Because no human being can know. Neil deGrasse Tyson tell you he's hella stupid to hella shit. And as smart as that man is, if you're listening to him talk, he's fun to listen to. But even in all your brilliance, what makes him smarter is because he can show up to what he doesn't know. He can honestly say, hey, let me show you what I do know and what I don't know. And without the proper data or the tools or the proper people, I will refrain from acting as I know. But when you don't feel comfortable enough being ignorant, you often will fill in the blanks, corrupting your own process. That's the real talk. Next slide. In this class, you will have homework, but not like the homework you think. I think Neil deGrasse Tyson said, if a person cheats on the test, it tells you two things. One, the system cares about the grade more than they care about the students. And two, the student cares about status more than they care about learning. We care about you learning in this class. You could take your degree, diploma from entrepreneurial course, and who the fuck you gonna give it to? Ain't no yellow brick road. Sorry, y'all.
What you used to say? Your grade is your bank account.
That's your grade. Yeah, look here. You get an A. I look at your bank account. Oh, girl, you got an A. Look at that bank account. You know, we might expel you.
You got an F.
So there's homework, but let me say this: the homework is not for homework's sake. That's corny. That has no value for me. I don't want to read all that shit. Homework is because it's the natural rhythm of the practices of being an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, you have to look. If Steph Curry stopped practicing, he is no longer Steph Curry. If LeBron stopped practicing, his career would have been cut down really, really short. He might not even got started. Any field where you're high performing, you are a practice. So you should always be learning. But in this class, we're going to also do other things in addition to that. We're going to have real world exercises. So there's going to be some classes where we're going to say, hey, here's some items, go sell it. Right? And as teams. We're going to have other exercises where we're going to work on Miro. Miro is going to be an online whiteboard where we're going to all work on it together. And on this online whiteboard, if you go into the portal, you'll see the whiteboard that we have. In this whiteboard, we ask everybody to go online and spend this week, this is your first one of your first homework assignments, creating your own, like, what do you call it? Play card, which is, and Shakina's already created her first sample play card, which tells us who you are. You place an image of your business, tells a little bit about yourself, and it's Miro. And there's a link in the, if you go to our if you log into our site, if you signed up, there's a link. And on that link, you click on Miro, you go into Miro, you create your play card. But Miro will be used for our private groups that you're going to join to work on ideation. It's going to be where we're going to have a lot of the slides. We're going to have a lot of feedback space where we're going to work on a lot of different exercises will be inside of Miro. We're going to also form a separate group called the Stuck Subgroup. Stuck Subgroup. We're studying a book called The Science of Stuck. Those of you online that's listening to me, some of you guys are stuck. Now, there's different degrees of being stuck, as me and Corda discussed. If you have serious mental health or serious financial oppression, it's hard for you to do anything. It's hard for you to meditate, breathe, yoga, walk, journal. You ever take somebody that's really suffering and tell them to journal? You'd be better off just telling them to go scribble. It's hard as hell, right? So, and some people need mental therapy, psychological therapy, right? Clinical psychologists. This is not what this is for. At all times, everybody in this class can be stuck. If you're not currently stuck, you can be temporarily stuck. I'll give you an example. I shared a story with Court and Shabisha. So there's different degrees of trauma. We know that everybody's familiar with the trauma, right? That really bad trauma. But there's different degrees of trauma, and there's different ways trauma can come into your life. But a lot of people don't know about the low frequency of trauma. Trauma has a very low frequency, meaning that we all experience it all the time. And trauma gets to a point where your brain is unable to either focus, because like it's like ADHD, it feels like it's ADHD, or the brain goes into a space where it feels like it's dealing with depression. But it's a temporary feeling. I mean, you can get out of it, but there's a cost to go along with this. Stay with me. So we're in Seattle, and I'm going to try to speed the story up because I want to get to the point. We're in Seattle, we're hanging out. We get that morning, and I'm in charge of figuring out where the food's at. So, but in Seattle, because of COVID, everything changed. So I'm struggling to find the right place because I'm hanging out with foodies and cats like, yo, I only want the best food. So we finally figured a place out after 3 or 4 places. It's raining outside. We get into the car. I'm trying to show you all these things that are trying to steal my psychological bandwidth. We go to the brand new rental car, Ford Expedition, go to turn it on, battery dead. New car, 2022, battery dead. Where the fuck they do that at, right? So I call my State Farm. I spend about $7 a month at State Farm for insurance, for all my vehicles and everything I'm driving. So I call, yo, State Farm, battery dead, I need a tow truck. Oh yeah, you got tow service. You got tow service coverage, but only if you have an accident. We'll charge you $90. Fuck it, okay. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. Charge you $90. Then we're gonna send you an app so you can just put your credit card in. Send me the app. Phone doesn't work. I'm over here. Now, mind you, we have to catch an Uber now to the restaurant. We get to the restaurant. Restaurant it's packed like, say, maybe 100 people. And it's popping. And if you didn't make a reservation, you can't sit in the comfortable seats. You either sit in the rain or you gotta sit at the bar. I'm not exaggerating about the rain. The first thing they put us in, we sit in the motherfucking rain. Now, you know I'm black. Black people sitting in rain, not a good experience. So at this point, I'm kind of irritated. I'm in the motherfucking rain. Cool. So then I asked him, I said, can you move us back? So I'm waiting in line, but I'm still trying to get this app to work. It ain't working. So now I'm in Seattle, so then I go to Yellow Pages, but I'm so irritated that I realize I can't even get to the Yellow Pages because my brain is starting to get scattered. I mean, it's taking me too long to surf the web on my damn phone. I finally get there, call the guy on the phone. Yeah, we'll be there. Mind you, the first guy said 90. Yeah, we'll be there in 20, 30 minutes for 125. This shit get on my nerves. So then, all right, fine. Come on, man. Just go and get the car jumped. Hotel manager calls me and say, hey, they're here, which was also a struggle. But you need to hurry up and get back. I'm eating my French toast. You need to hurry up and get back because I only can put a camera on there and Castle will come down here and steal your car while it's running. This got to be motherfucking, this can't be real. I get back to the car. I run downstairs. Mind you, once again, rain, all that stuff going on. Run downstairs, start get in the car. I said, let me reposition the car so Mashama, he gets out with his suitcase. We can get his suitcase. We can go over the bridge to this other part of Washington. As I turn the car around, the ceiling is 6 feet 2 inches high, super low. Turn the car around, back the car up to kind of position it, but out of my visual is the air duct and the metal that comes out of the air duct. Bam! Now I'm really scrambled. Like, fuck! What the fuck, man? This car, whoop, 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 whoop. We get in the car, start driving. I can't drive the same. You know why I can't drive the same? Because when you're driving, you're playing offensive, defensive, and you're using a part of your brain. But that part of my brain is stuck in the past, the future. Got to solve this, fix this. So it's called I'm unraveling. If I stay in that car and continue to drive, which I did run a red light, by the way, and Masham looked at me like, what the fuck is going on with you? It's because my brain hit a point of trauma. There's a saying that Court alluded to earlier. If you don't understand how the subconscious work, when things happen to you, your conscious brain will call it fate. It's not fate. You are lightly traumatized, and now you're going to be mistake prone, accident prone, and making poor decisions. Now, Court may have the money, he can handle that. But let's say it's one of you where now you're late on this, not paying that, causing this accident, dropped this, broke that, forgot this, and now that weekend cost you a couple of grand when you were supposed to be on vacation. If you don't know your brain is about to unravel and you don't know what to do when that feeling hits and you don't even know that's a thing and you try to like will yourself through it, I can just will myself through this. And then you would say to somebody when you get home, man, seems like the world's against me. Everything was going wrong. But somewhere before everything went wrong, you unraveled. You were traumatized. Because traumatized means that your brain was so overwhelmed, it ceased to maintain its basic functions. Well, Shakina and Shabisha will be hosting class that starts later on this month that's going to be around this book called The Science is Stuck. And it's going to be working on routines. The book is not to fix you. Here's my other issue. A lot of us have mental health challenges because we treat mental health like we treat weight loss. We don't work out till we get fat. We wait till we're broken. Then we want somebody to come in and spend hella resources fixing us back up. And then we want to beat ourselves up so badly to lose weight. Even if you are overweight, you then feel so guilty. You decide, okay, I'm going to abuse myself. I'm going to eat carrots and celery for the next 6 months. Fucking around here, malnutrition, sick as hell. But at least I'm thin, though. And the second thing, you end up gaining all that goddamn weight back because that is not a good maintenance plan. Well, the same thing happens with mental health. Many of us think our mind just does what it does and it's going to take care of itself. If you don't have a basic plan, especially as an entrepreneur, to protect your mental health, like what should you be doing daily and working on what rhythms? If you ever listen to Court, his spirituality, his meditation, his exercise, his process of how he challenges himself, how he clears up his cognitive distortions, how he's moving, it's called mental health. Right? If you ever watch me, my boundary setting, the way I'm moving, the way I'm analyzing, my adulting around the way I'm reframing things, the way I'm exercising, the way I'm eating, the way I'm sleeping, all these type of things is so I can stay in the game. Side note, many of y'all guys go to these entrepreneur training programs that get you excited to go play the game, but realize once you get in the game, you can't even stay in the game because you're not good enough. In hope, we teach you how to stay in the fucking game. We don't sit there and play that motivation game. So go back to my point. So at the end of the day, it ain't about getting to this point of getting ready for the summer to be fat by the next winter. It's not about getting your mental health stable by going to the psychologist for 6 months to be crazy 2 years from now. Nobody's crazy. No such thing. But being mentally unhealthy. There's really no such thing as crazy. And we'll get into that some other day. But T. Pratt, if he's listening to this, he'd be like, thank you. But there's no such thing as absolute crazy. Can you be mentally unhealthy? Yes. You have to develop mental health exercises because the level of stress and uncertainty is one of the most stressful things a human being can ever experience. The only difference between homelessness and camping is you chose one. And why is homelessness and camping still horrible for some people? Because it feels like uncertainty. Some people, like, you ever ask me to go camping? I'm like, yeah, what's your hotel next to? If I can't walk to the hotel, then I don't understand why we're camping. Right? Like, I'll camp up in Oakland Hills, but I can drive down. I'm not even exaggerating. They found a spot for me that's like 1 or 2 minutes away from a restaurant. I said, okay, I do this. So, because if everything goes bad, just get in my car, I'm out. I got boundaries. But what I'm saying is that, I'm really serious about that too. But uncertainty is extremely unhealthy. And when you come into this entrepreneurship, I promise you're going to have a group of unhealthy feelings. When you have those unhealthy feelings, if you don't have your mental health game on, that's going to be your breaking point.
Here's the deal. Entrepreneurship is ran by entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs are human beings. And as a black entrepreneurship class, it's black folks, right? And let's just keep this shit 100. Most black folks have been through some shit in their life. Been through some shit. Because we've had a lot of unhealthy ways of being raised. A lot of rules around how we were raised, just whether it was ignorance or whatever. We can't blame anybody, our parents, whoever. It's just we've been through some shit. So at the core of the entrepreneur is you. And if you are good, your business has a chance of being good. If you are going through some shit, it's a high likelihood your business is going to go through some shit. If you are struggling mentally, emotionally, physically, psychologically, it's highly likelihood your business is. So in order to get your business glowing, you gotta glow. And if you and if getting your emotions, your mental, your physical, your spiritual, whatever those 5 pillars are for you, if this not a practice for you to get glowing, you got to start. And sometimes some of us are afraid to start because if you open that Pandora's box, there's some shit in there, right? I don't want to work through that. I don't want to work on that. I've been keeping that in that closet my whole life. But understand this: it's a muscle that you're gonna have to work. The routine and rhythm you're gonna create working on yourself is gonna output itself in the success of your business. The better I got, better my business got. The things I healed, more money I made. People I forgave, I just got a new deal. My business looks better. I don't even know how I got there. It's because when you work on you, the business is affected by it. So there's different means, and I think over the course we're gonna talk about it. But you gotta work on you. You gotta start working on you, and some of that might be therapy, and the others might be other practices you want to jump into that really helps you get into that space of healing. But this is a huge one for me because there's no way I would have got here without a practice working on myself. And it don't got to be the same. It's not a prescription. It's just that has to be important to you. It has to be of utmost importance to you. And not from a place of, we don't teach victimization. So it's not like where we sit around and just talk about all the fucked up shit that happened to us in our life. We don't get nowhere, and they got hell of platforms for that. And then, but what's the output? What's the receipts? There is none. The goal is, as a leader and an entrepreneur, is to say, man, this is where I'm broken. How do I fix it? This is where how do I fill this hole? How do I get there? How do I improve this? I'm bumping up against this. Maybe I need therapy. I'll invest in therapy. Oh man, finally got a breakthrough with this. All right, cool. Now I'm on to the next. But we've tried different methods, and what I learned is that a lot of us were broken, but you have to take responsibility for your own path. And a lot of times it's bigger. Some of it is bigger than what we can teach here, but I'm gonna ask you, what's your plans? What's your mental health strategy? What are you working on? What are you getting through?
And last, audiobooks and podcasts. A lot of you guys may listen to music a lot in your car, or you may, you're working, washing dishes at your house, or if you're driving, or you're working at the gym. What you're gonna find is, I know a lot of you guys have busy schedules, especially if you have children or you have other obligations. One of the ways you can feed a lot of this reading and learning into your life is combine audiobooks with actual books. So the weeks you can't actually sit down and read, you place an audiobook in your car when you're driving around. It's gonna be crazy because after a while, it becomes addictive, right? But then there's certain books you have to go back and read. Audiobook just won't get it because it just has too many deep layers to it, right? But if you start to fill those gaps with podcasts and audiobooks, you'll find you can use a lot of that in between space as learning space. So I would suggest you start there. Other things that when you first get into some of these podcasts, they may give you a headache. 15 years ago, or even say 10 years ago, or even 5 years, there's even some books 2 years ago that gave me a headache. But they always give me a headache. My first discovery was I would read a book that would say, what the fuck is this, right? I'm literally reading it with a dictionary, and then I'm trying to look it up, the context of the word, and I'm just to get past 2 pages, right? But guess what happens? Once your brain does get it, and you finally adjust, you almost leveled up in your ability to learn, read. It is almost like almost a consciousness enhancement, but it will hurt. It will, because you know why it's going to hurt? There's a neuroscience reason. When you have to learn something that complex, you're burning a lot of calories. And the normal goal of your brain is survival. It doesn't want to burn a lot of calories. So it's going to send a lot of messages to you like, this is just stupid. You're not going to learn this anyway. I hate this shit. Why is he got us doing this? It ain't going to change my life. My life was cool before he could start fucking with me, right? And your brain going to come up because your brain is a lie master. It's going to lie to you in ways you never even imagined. But what the brain is really saying is, I don't want to do this because this is threatening our resources. And so, and if for some of you guys, y'all might be running around here in your 30s thinking you sexy because you don't wear glasses and you blind as shit, right? And so because you blind as shit, when you read, you're burning so much energy to read, you get sleepy. Go change your glasses. As you change your glasses and realize
I'm fighting it.
You gotta get there. So you can be like this, what's up, Nana? How you doing? Hold on a second, let me read this real quick to you. So anyway, I was like, hey, give me a few minutes. Oh, that's cool. But realize you need some goddamn glasses.
I hate fucking glasses. Fucking get fuzzy and dirty and shit. Fuck this shit.
See how your brain, is that the brain talk? He's just too
This
far
shit.
for us. Anyway,
This
so
shit. I gotta.
this brother here. So just know when you're learning something that you're not used to learning, it always feels like a struggle. It always feels like a struggle. But I promise you, we also make sure that a lot of the homework we provide for you is interesting. I can make everybody within a sound of my voice say this. If you join Hope and in 6 months I haven't impacted your life, I give you all 6 months of your money back. That money don't mean shit to me anyway. I'm going to reinvest it in you anyway because I'm here to serve you. So whatever money we make, I'm reinvesting back into you. But if it doesn't work for you, I have no problem giving your money back because we know this shit transforms people. We got 6 years of going, God damn, this shit is amazing. And each year we're improving on that. So last year, those of you who enjoyed last year, great. But we about to smoke that shit this year. Next slide. Black pedagogy. In this class, we do have a black pedagogy. We try to learn we try to pay attention to how do people who are black, how do people who are oppressed, how do black people who are diverse, different black people, how do they learn? So when we design our class, we try to design it around the way you learn. We don't come in this class and go through some typical curriculum. And that's why we've thrown out a lot of the principles and started rebuilding from scratch because a lot of schools were never built it with us in mind. We're building and designing this with us in mind. That means we're starting from scratch because some of that shit works cool, systems, but it don't really work for us.
To get this far, we've had to read a lot. So I know you're gonna speak on it, but personally, I've been reading daily books since 2005, almost on a daily basis,
Around the same time.
through a book. And so these books weren't particularly written for us. So I'm like, shit, I didn't do good in school. So I'm having to read it 2, 3, 4 times, taking notes to try to figure out how it applies to me and using it in the context of what it says and getting my results. And over 15, 17, 18 years of reading books that are from people who aren't marketing to us. The beauty, I think, is in the language we can translate, the simplification of the complexities of those books where we can have discussions and give real-time examples of what it means. Because really, intellectuals, they speak the same language at different frequencies. So if you can understand what people are talking about at the highest frequency, you can explain it to a third grader. So my goal is, how can I take this stuff, use it, and explain it to a third grader? So simple. And so that's why a lot of times people will like, well, that was too simple. Like, teach me something new or teach me something advanced so I can sound fancy at a party or something. And it's like, no, cuz what I'm trying to do is teach you something that you can apply right now. Right now. And it's simple. And you can be in those rooms and have the same conversation once you translate what you actually know what you're saying. So to me, I love that about this. There ain't no code switching. We ain't got to change who we are. You don't got to change who you are. We going to come across and disseminate the same information to you, but in language where you can understand.
You know, go back to entrepreneurial consciousness. If you learn this new consciousness and this new way of thinking, you will never code switch again. You know why? Because you'll know that you can speak at a level. For example, I can walk into a room right now. I don't give a fuck what your background is. And I can hang with the best of the best in negotiations and business and theory and principles. And what you'll discover is that when you practice all the time, because quite often you code switch because you don't feel like you're good enough or you won't be accepted in this environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so once you get to the point that you actually get your muscles pretty damn strong to the point that you make most white people be like, wait, what? And the white people who are at high levels of performances, you feel like you guys are just talking on a flat platform. Not that you're always superior. When you're wrong, it sounds intelligent to the outsider. That's from practice. I'm East Oakland, 65th McDowell, 73rd, 69VL, born 69VL. I'm a hood kid. I'm talking about hood ass kid. I'm talking about the kind of kid that used to collect RC bottle caps so I could win some money for my family. I'm talking about a kid that ate most of his food from the church because we couldn't afford groceries. I'm talking about a kid that the money that came in the house is the money that my uncle hustled as a professional hustler. I'm talking about a kid that watched his father pimp women and sell dope because we didn't have no money like that, right? You grew up as that kid, and if you listen to me in a business meeting, you swear to God, that's not the same kid. The difference between that kid, I am that kid in many ways. But what makes me different is my practice. Now, yes, you do evolve. We're never the same. That's why we also challenge this label game, because sometimes we get caught up in these labels and we never grow past the label that we give ourselves. But I come from the same origin, but the difference between me and a lot of my peers and my brothers and sisters in the game is they don't practice enough. They just don't practice. They think once you get a degree or certificate, you have arrived. You never arrive in this game. Matter of fact, get a corporate job right now and don't go to any of their trainings and don't work on any development and see what happens to you within a 5 to 10 year radius. You about to be replaced. No promotion for you. Next slide. Josh, leave this on the screen for a minute because I know there's somebody at home. The revolutionists that listen to this class right now just turned their Facebook screen off, and it's time for them to go back to ranting about virtue signaling. This one here is not meant for the mass public, even though this is on mass public. But guess what? You're going to learn today. Racism is real. So for those of you who wonder if it's not real, hopefully I destroyed you. Racism is real. But how you respond to it has to be different to be the leader. Because if you respond to it the way you traditionally respond to it, it causes mental damage, it causes mental distortions, it causes poor decision making, it causes compromises. I'm only going to hit one issue because we'll come back to it deeper throughout the year. In racism, my job is to snatch your shit, whoop your ass, and take your position. Ooh, that sounds rough. You ever watch basketball? My job is to snatch your shit, which is your basketball, dunk on your ass, and take the title from you. And when the game is over, I say to you, good game. You'll see me next year. In business, but in the social world where you don't run businesses and jobs, that's called racism, homophobia, and sexism, and every other fucking thing you could think of. Meaning that there's somebody coming for you out here. And guess what? We're comfortable with that. And if you get me, I don't blame you and get mad at you. I go, yo, Court, I'm slipping, bro. I need to work on my shit. And the competition makes me better because it allows me to innovate and grow, that you benefit as a customer or you benefit as a community. So we're going to have to change the context of how you feel about racism so you can get the mindset back. A social justice leader is not going to be a great business leader. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit if you get mad at me. Cancel me now. Meet me in East Oakland. Don't let me go to the corner store no more. Whatever. Point is this. The way that we're showing up to different beliefs, you can't function in business. I got to hire everybody underneath the sun. If you're a trans Asian, short, under 4 feet, slow, overweight, and can make this company grow, I'm fucking with you every day like you my cousin. You understand that? And I don't give a shit about your Asian, short. I might tease you because you're slow. That's all. Why? Because in business, that's not how it works, man. If you try to win, you can't put limitations and handcuffs on yourself, especially when competition don't give a fuck about you. And you get into some story about somebody being inferior, ugly, worse, weak, strong, this person hate. Even if you, when I had a group of ladies that worked for my company and they came in the office one day and they was like, you know, this white man said this to me, and it was going back and forth about white men. And I said, excuse me, y'all, can you cut that shit out? They looked at me like, you a black man, you can't tell us to cut that shit out. I said, oh, freeze, what the fuck, I can't. I'm going to send you in a room one day to negotiate with 2 or 3 white men with my money. And if you walk in that room and you automatically assume they're superior, you about to give them my money. I need you to see yourself equal to them. I need you to stop telling yourself that they have the right to change you, that you have to see the power within you and seek to grow that power. In this class, we will grow your power. And you will see the giant within you, and there's no such thing as racism that will ever hold you back. It doesn't mean that with racism, if it grows big enough, it can hold anybody back. But the racism that we're talking about, somebody on TV saying something racist, or we see a racist incident, should not prevent your business from soaring. It should not prevent you from showing up. Let's say when your employees make a racist comment, it should not be the topic of the fucking company.
We teach bandwidth. Bandwidth is you have only so much capacity on a daily basis to move. And you have to fill that capacity with the most effective thing every single day to get the most effective output every single day. So the question is, what do you feel inside your bandwidth? Well, 8 hours of sleep, hopefully, right? Is it an hour of TikTok, an hour of Instagram, an hour of Facebook? So that's 3. Shit, you already down 11 hours, right? Now, if also part of your bandwidth is getting emotionally triggered by everything you see that's racist, how much bandwidth you got left to build? How much bandwidth? And most of us, because fighting racism is right? You better fight racism. You better fight. So we're trained to go off. But as an entrepreneur, it might be sapping a lot of your bandwidth. And it slows down your movement every single day because it's always something. It's always a Karen. It's always this person happening, and it happens to me too. Oh man, what he did? What he did with the hose to the lady on the ground? That's crazy. Like and it happens every day. And the problem with society today, because we're so small as a world now, used to be you would only be privy to the shit that happened in your neighborhood, and it happened every blue moon. Now, it seems like it's happening all the time, but really it's not. It's the same rhythm it was before, but you could just see it in Oakland. There's one in LA. There's one in Denver. There's one here. So your brain is building up this story about it. Like we talked about earlier, racism in business. This is the wild, y'all. Business is the wild. Give a fuck about you. Give a fuck about you. You worked so hard to build your business. It was a cupcake company. Now you went from slinging cupcakes out on the edge of the street to now you had a little booth to now you got a store and now you got a whole giant cupcake store. Hostess saw that and built something right across the street and whooped your ass, right? Is that fair? Is that fair in business? Is that fair? Yes. Hell yeah, that's fair. So as an entrepreneur, when you're moving and thinking like that, that shit is like, how does it affect my business? You processing, how does it affect my business? How can I win from it? Can I lose from it? That's the move. It doesn't mean that as a human you don't feel certain things. When shit happens, man, I still break down and cry sometimes. I be swinging at the air like motherfucking Boys in the Hood. I swing at the air because I hate it, right? I hate it. One of my little black boys, something happened to police officer. I don't care if it's 1 in 1 million. I don't give a fuck. If I see it, I'm crying because I got sons. But as an entrepreneur, I gotta move different. And so once we teach you about the wolf and the dog and to take responsibility for everything that happens around you, take full responsibility, radical responsibility, then that's automatically going to change the hue of how you see racism.
So let me tell us quick stories because some of y'all might be thinking online, did this cat just tell us to walk away from racism? This is old story. So these people are jumping off a bridge into a river. And the young men see it, so they run down to the river to try to save the people and the kids who are in the river, who are floating down the river to die or drown or go over the waterfall. So these 4 wise men walk up, and one of the young men run over to the 4 wise men, hey, can you help us save these people who are all drowning in the river? The 4 wise men step away. They step back and say, nah, we can't help you. That's what y'all just heard. Then they said, we're going to go to the top of the bridge and stop them from jumping in. That's what entrepreneurs do. We build the systems to generate a solution. You can get so bogged down with the whack-a-mole solutions that you will spend the rest of your short span of life you have in this game and never really solve the problem, but walk away with a whole bunch of virtue, happy moments, or status moments that comes from virtues. But if you really want to solve the problem, someone has to generate the systems. If you're able to hire black folks, create better schools, hospitals, banking systems, housing systems for their community, that's the real, you're going after the ecosystem solution, not the individual solutions. And we don't demonize individual activists. They have their place too. The young men had a place, so while we're working on stopping them from jumping in, the young men are saving the ones in the river. You just can't be all roles to all people. You got to know your role in the game. You guys get where I'm going with that now? So you're being an activist, you're just taking a different role. You're building the tanks in the war, you're not out there shooting your pistol. It's a different kind of battle. That's all it is. So that's what we're saying. We're going to change your relationship to racism. We're going to give you a different way of looking at stuff. We're going to also show you that we're going to help you see that if you say diversity, that means white men. Ain't that something? Y'all say diversity and somehow white men can't come to that party? That'd be killing me. Anyway, next slide. Well, I think we gave you our promise. Next slide. Entrepreneurship, you will never arrive. Let me say this again. As an entrepreneur, you will never arrive. It's a practice. As soon as you get good at one game, the game's going to change. I remember the Warriors said, the year they won the championship, somebody said, well, how come we didn't use the same strategy you used last year? He said, because the competition learned it. So if you're not always learning in this game, you're going to slowly deteriorate. If you decide you want to do this entrepreneurial stuff, that's a lifestyle you're choosing. And it's a practice you're choosing. Just accept it. Next slide. Here's the reason, I'm going to go over this really fast. Their hope is an entrepreneur culture. Why do you need an entrepreneur culture? 1, isolation will kill you on the vine. If you're an entrepreneur and you leave and you're working on this new form of consciousness, and the only people you could talk to are people in other forms of consciousness, you'll die on the vine. You have to be able to talk to other entrepreneurs. You need entrepreneur feedback. You need other entrepreneurs to say, hey man, I'm not sure about that, or help you see what you cannot see. You need a reinforcement of the consciousness. If you don't have a place to make you feel like this consciousness makes sense, you feel like you're going crazy. You also need entrepreneurs to tear down conscious myths that surround entrepreneurship, or surround your businesses, or surround industries, or surround your. Like there's a famous myth: don't share your business idea when you start a business. A myth. I can get a text. Please, somebody at some point ask me, why is it? Why do you not share your idea? You need other entrepreneurs to help you tame your ego. Your ego will always flare, and the only people who can see that is other entrepreneurs. The group will always trump the individual. When you belong to an entrepreneur group, you will be higher in innovation and creativity. When you by yourself, you literally will almost be starving innovation and creativity. You by yourself cannot be a hero. Running a business, so being an entrepreneur is different than being self-employed. Many of you guys are self-employed, calling it entrepreneurship. Self-employed is somewhat by yourself with kind of like contractors to join you. Entrepreneur is realizing that you can't hero your way through this game. No person knows everything. You ever watch a basketball game? You ever watch, what's the Warriors basketball coach name?
Kerr?
Yeah, Steve Kerr. Do you see how many other coaches are on the sideline with him? Some of y'all just want to be the only coach. As the competition goes up, you could be a victim of your own thinking. Last, in this class, because it's a culture, meet your peers. Every chance you can, meet your peers because you're going to team up with them. But this will be a long-term, valuable relationship. Hope alumni is at least 300 to 400 people. And they know each other. And they do business with each other. And they engage with each other. And they interact with each other. Meet your peers. Your peers will hold you accountable. Next slide. So, question I want to lob up to you guys. Shabisha, pull up a document so we can lob. And if there's any questions, we have any questions online? We good? Okay, good. Pull up a document online real quick. This is a famous. This is Captain Court phrase. I don't know why she didn't put his picture real close.
No, don't do that.
He started this. Am I lying, y'all? Alumni. And he was the one that started that famous phrase. Why are you here? Right? That comes from this brother right here. But that's an actual legitimate question. She's going to pull up a document. And this is what I want you guys to do. And even online, you can join us as well because we have 2 people watching the chat space online. I want you guys to ask yourself, not only for yourself, but for others, why would somebody want to be an entrepreneur? Why would they want to become an entrepreneur? Right? Why would you take a class to be an entrepreneur? And I want you guys to just blurt out. It could be either for you or somebody else. And if somebody already covered it, you skip the one. Don't repeat the same thing over and over, right? But I want us to see how far we can fill this up of why would you take an entrepreneur class? Why would you want to be an entrepreneur? Why would you want to learn how to be an entrepreneur, right? Why would you want to become an entrepreneur? So don't everybody hesitate. Can we get a show of hands? Of you may want to have any ideas? Yeah, we're going to so once she gets ready, you ready? So let's take it. Tone Vic, you first. Go ahead. Give a microphone. Let's pass the microphone around. That way the people online won't feel like, y'all going to leave us out now. We can't be part of the situation. By the way, hey, online and in person, Kaja did a podcast with me and Court. If you get a chance, check it out. Kaja did an amazing job. Outer body experience. Kaja did a podcast with us, and I didn't know what I was going to say to her questions, and I actually enjoyed the podcast because I was freshly listening to my outer body experience of myself, and listening to Court, because when Court's sitting here next to me, when we're in class, I kind of listen to him real deeply because I kind of dancing, playing off his thoughts. But in that podcast, I was just chilling. She got us really damn comfortable. And I don't get high, I don't drink, I don't smoke, but I feel like I was high as hell. So I was talking from this real high space. So I was really in my head, and I was letting thoughts go, and I kind of went to some extreme ideas and played around with it. And then Court would say these brilliant points, but he would say them so simple, like he said earlier. And I'm like, nah, they're going to try to keep it simple. That shit ain't simple. What he said was, and I just tear it apart on all these complex levels. And we had this cool little dance going. And so you guys get a chance to check out the podcast. It's in our Facebook group. We may need to probably put it in we talked to Danielle about putting it in a portal to Neil, so folks can actually get a chance to listen to that podcast. I forgot about that. So anyway, let's start with Tone Vic. why should somebody become an entrepreneur or take a class to become an entrepreneur? Why would you even? Yeah, yeah.
Why are you here, Tone? Huh?
Why are you here?
Why am I here?
Yeah. Well, no, this is an entrepreneur class, so I don't mean why you here, like why you sitting next to me as if you because you want to steal my style. That's not. That we gonna pass.
I mean, I'm here.
Watch yourself.
All right, man. Damn, that's
Why would a person be here? Are you for somebody else? Be for somebody else.
I mean, it's so many answers. I mean, why am I here? Why should anybody be here? To unlearn and be of service to people. I know it's like a comment. That's like a two thing, but it's to unlearn years of stuff that we were taught, and to learn how to be of value in service to people. That's one of the reasons why I am here, and I think that's why other people should be here as well.
Anybody else?
Financial freedom and not being tied to traditional work schedules.
She want the bag. She wants the bag. Get that bag. Get that bag.
The desire to not just find but help build community and value amongst each other and create our own systems.
I'm gonna give you two answers. The answer I gave last year, and this is my new answer for the new year. The last year answer was because I hate my job, and this is that's the first year answer. Always this first year answer. I hate my job. I want to get out of it. The new year answer is because I want to build something else and make sure that I can build a different future so that I don't have some place to hate.
Yo, that was kind of nice.
I can't drop. I'm not gonna drop this mic for y'all. Though.
Yo, so that was nice. Yeah, Toe said he wants
put
some of
his
that.
name by that one. That's called appropriation. It's
Hey, that was
business.
hot.
He said it's
That was
business.
I'm here to build a life and specifically work that aligns with my purpose, which is to bring healing to our community.
Tight. Love your voice.
Purpose
Voice is
driven.
strong.
Thank you.
That's
That-
dope.
Yeah, very strong. Very strong. Say the last. You want to say the last part again?
To bring healing to our community.
Can you hear the bass, like the volume, her voice like feels the space? She's like
That's my favorite compliment.
She's like your voice in a feminine energy voice, but can feel the room. Yeah, I do.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah. I come. You know why? I was raised in a house full of alpha females. My mother was like, and my grandmother, they were like dominant, powerful women. So and then of course I have a very strong personality, not strong, but strong personality. So I find like when I hear strong voices and I think about the power they have to move human beings, they're amazing. So yeah, I mean, yeah, right on. Don't you dare. Don't do it. You can tell she just said it like a joke just about to come. Don't you do it.
No, I'm gonna be serious.
By the way, hey, real quick, anybody ever heard about the stretch business when I said, yo, I don't do all that? I'm not the massage type dude. And don't put me in that hot ass sauna. That's like going to jail. And I'm not going to get cold. If you want to go cold, go run outside. But like people be trying to buy me foo-foo stuff, and I'll be like, yo, you can cut that shit out. So my sister Shabisha back here brought me this gift card one time. She's like, yo, this is a gift card for a stretch artist. So I was like, Shabisha, I don't do all that. She goes, oh, she stretch raiders and professional athletes. I said, okay, I try that. Because I don't know. It's just I'm not like, don't be burning all them candles. Cut that shit out. Oh.
We still wear candles.
So I go get stretched by her. The dopest experience. Look, let me talk to my old peoples, right? My 40 pluses. y'all haven't lost y'all flexibility. Y'all haven't lost your youthfulness. You just too goddamn tight. Look, she stretched me. I remember I was like, man, getting down on the floor playing with the kids. This is a lot. Can I just talk to y'all from up here, right? I go stretching her. I'm on the floor. I'm rolling around. Like, this shit is amazing. So she runs a business around stretching, and I'm one of her greatest fans. And so those of y'all online, like when she speaks, just remember that voice. You don't go to Tone, because Tone's just trying to get some money. But make sure you go to the right person. So go ahead. You go ahead and speak.
I'm here because I came a few years ago. At the time, I didn't know what I wanted my business to be. I was still working a full-time job, all of that. When I quit my job, then COVID hit. And it afforded me the opportunity to restructure my business and figure out what I really wanted to do. But I stopped coming to Hope because I had to figure that out. Because I wasn't getting anything. I won't say I wasn't getting anything. The mindset part was great, but I needed to focus on the particulars, like some of the how-tos, and get really serious about what I wanted to do. I feel like I'm there now. I know what I want to do, and I need to be around people who can help me get to the next level. I want to be in a community of people who are doing the same thing. Because the type of work that I do, I'm in a room by myself with other people all the time, but it's just me and another person, and they're usually asleep.
I went to sleep.
No,
I went to sleep. I was asleep for like.
No, she hit a couple of stretches, man. Woke my ass up in a split second. Had me in there. I was like, "Yo, I'm about to make a noise I'm not supposed to be making."
Nana hates the happy baby.
No, don't. Why you gotta call it happy baby? Can we gotta call it happy? No, I'm not doing that. I hate that. I told her, don't do that to me again. Don't do that to me again.
He cussed me out.
She did this one stretch. I was like, no, this is violation. No, I can't. No. Like if a camera came on, I'd be like acting like Will Smith. Like, I don't know why I did it. I don't even know why. No, not doing it. No, gonna have me my Will Smith face. And by the way, this second thing I'm gonna just tell y'all about her. That was a big step the way she spoke in front of all y'all. Back in the days when I first met her, that wasn't gonna happen. She'd be like, yo, leave me alone, Nana. I'm good. Super talented, all these skills, super knowledgeable, highly educated, but leave me alone. The way she speaks, you could tell her growth and her entrepreneurship, so I applaud you for that. That's dope. That's real dope.
Autumn Online said, I'm here to become a sharper-minded individual through lessons learned from sharp-minded individuals, also to grow my business whose mission is to grow the minds and abilities of others.
Shit, okay. Well, but they're going, look here. Put Tone next to Autumn's too.
She says, I'm here to become a sharper-minded individual through lessons learned from sharp-minded individuals. Also, to grow my business, whose mission it is to grow the minds and abilities of others.
Who can guess she's from New York? Anybody? Huh? Anybody? Nobody can see New York? She's from New York. She's really from New York. Yeah, it comes out.
No, it comes out. It's like 4 words. It's 4 words that will get it to you.
Yeah.
I'm actually not an entrepreneur, but I'm here to gain the knowledge of what it takes to become a successful one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She's so. That's what I'm talking about. But that's like cousin right there. She's from the block. Yeah, that's cousin there.
Ready for it? I'm here to get unstuck and find my purpose.
Yo, tight.
I'm here because I'm hungry. But yeah, I'm hungry. I think when I took the class with Mashama and play, I didn't consider myself as a creative until there was like an exercise where cut up magazines and doing this stuff and make something. Okay, got it. And I came through and it's like, well, what does it mean? And I realized, oh, I am a creative in my own sense, and that the way I pursue
That's tight.
to be an entrepreneur, I don't have to follow an archetype, right? Today when I was coming to this class, I was trying to look up a person's name who just sit like right here in the other room next to me. Lily is her name from last year.
Yeah.
And sometimes she asks a question, I just like, whoa. I go back home and listen to it. And I was like, it doesn't matter how I say something, because in my work, the way I say something matters, because words are currency. Information and news is currency. And the way you perceive is currency. Here I can show up and be hungry and just know that the way I pursue the change and the positive and healing impact in the community doesn't have to look like an archetype that I've been fed to believe is the right way to do something.
Hold on, man. Hold on, man. Bar.
That's a bar. That's a bar.
He took it from really simple. I was like, okay. And bar.
That's a bar. That's a bar.
Sure.
So when I first started the class, I know I came extremely angry. I was angry with myself, and I was angry with myself on the positions that I put myself into, from going to school, getting all the degrees, and then people still not recognizing me as the titles, right? And the knowledge to take care of really sick kids. So now, 4 years later, I have learned how to use that anger to foster what it is that I want to do each child at a time.
Tight. By the way, you know, anger,
can I get a hug after this?
Anger, yeah.
No.
Oh, girl. No, but no, anger actually, you know what's so funny? Anger is actually a good thing. Because you can argue that Christ got angry. You can argue that Martin Luther King got angry, right? You know why people kill people in war? Because of love. Your love for what you believe in allows you to stop seeing the person that's in front of you that you're about to take their life. Next, go ahead.
I'm here for direction, accountability, and to get unstuck.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's tight. Thank you.
Right around the corner. In the cut. No, I'm here simply for the community.
Yeah.
And to keep growing, but mainly for the community.
That's right. By the way, so he was, you know, he's been the whole solid last year was a solid. He came 2 years ago, short for a short season because he got pulled in different ways, and then he finally kind of settled down in his marriage. And so last year he came like, even when he didn't come, he was in class, he was watching all the videos, and he listened to all the podcasts, participated in all the homework. So then, because he was so committed, he asked me for a short period, like, yo, can I spend some time with you for a second? So we went and we did our business audit, and I was like, yo, let's change these strategies. This just doesn't translate, right? So then he asked some questions. He asked some things, some friction points. He's like, yo, that's friction for me. I don't know how I feel about that. So then we talked through. He's like, damn. Yeah, that eye-opening moment. So you leave him with these new strategies, and you just assume, you know, over the next year or two, you're going to see some growth. This cat calls me back the following week. Yeah, I got rid of this. I fired this. I changed this. I hired this. I started this. And this is, I'm over here. This is the best shit that's ever happened. His brother called me. This is how I know he's not lying. His brother called me. He's like, yo, how the fuck my brother going to start business after me? And then pass me the fuck up. He's like, I was like, this dude is like, if he finds something that he needs to change, you talking about somebody dumping their beliefs and going on to the next one? Now, mind you, he's going to argue and say, yo, why doesn't this work? You're going to have to tell me, like, he ain't going to let you just come to him with, like, no, like, quick pipe dream. Like, oh, just do this, and it's gone. Sorry for those who like crack. But he's not going to hit you with any quick pipe dreams, right? I don't want to trigger nobody. But once he sees that you've actually see him and understand the challenge on the table, and then he can process it and see how it works, he dumped his beliefs faster than anybody I ever seen. To the point I was laughing, because I could dump my beliefs pretty fast. He's faster. And to see how fast he grew his business in 1 year, because he did not marry his beliefs. He's a prime example of somebody said, fuck this shit, I'm out. And mind you, it was a complex system the way it was. But he literally said, oh, okay, I'm running this wrong, I'm running it this way now. And it was so damn dope. And mind you, we spent like, I think maybe a couple hours or 2 or 3 hours together, just kind of discussing, playing it and lobbing it back and forth and looking at other possibilities. And just to see him also too, he didn't treat me as, give me a nugget now so I can fix my business because I believe in you, great guru. He sat down with me as a peer and used me as a sounding board. That's what that shit was so fly. So a lot of respect to him. A lot of respect to him.
I want to add this too, especially based on what you were saying, is the best way to not get much from this class is to always trying to sound smart, always trying to sound like you know what you're talking about, always trying to sound like you got big shit popping and you know what you're doing. The best way to get the most from this class is to be like this brother right here. And I don't give a fuck how I sound. If I sound stupid, if it's a stupid question, if I don't know what I'm talking about, if I don't know the definition of the word, I don't know what it is, I don't even know what that means. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's my favorite word.
That is the best way. Because there is no grade, there is no looking cool. You cool when you rich, you cool when you wealthy. That's the cool. Everything else outside of that ain't cool. So who gives a fuck if you dressed in hella Gucci and Fendi and all this fancy shit and got the newest Jordans on? If your bank account is empty, that shit ain't cool. Ask questions, sound stupid. We will not judge you. I'll guarantee you the most beautiful thing you can do is just is say, hey, I'm ignorant. I don't know what that is.
The fastest way to know is not know.
Man, come on. Like a lot of times people will sit back in class and they just act like they got it. Yep, I got it. And they may glean some things, but if you want to really get the richness of the class, man, that was the beauty. Tone Vic would come and disagree, and it would be the most like basic disagreement, and I'm like, good, Tone, because I guarantee you there's other people in this class who are afraid to ask, and you did it. Kaja, the same thing. Kaja would challenge shit all the time, and that made for a great class because if you challenge something, two things are going to happen. Either you're going to upgrade your software in the moment, like, oh, I didn't know that, I learned something new. Or you're going to reaffirm what's already correct. So, and it reaffirms it for the class. So you'll see hands go, Shakina, Lily, there's no such thing as stupid questions. Go after it. We won't judge you or talk shit about you or be like, did you? No, because that's how you get there. That's how you get there.
Unless you make a bad cake.
Online?
Go ahead.
YouTube? Or is there some? I'm sorry, I can't see. Did I cut somebody off?
Go ahead, Shabisha, and then we switch back over to and give Shakina a microphone too. All right, play it. Let your hair down.
Marquita said to connect and learn with other entrepreneurs and not being on an island by myself.
Tight.
Dave Max said to learn what business is not and to learn how my thoughts, beliefs, and consciousness is a bigger key to business success.
Tight.
Cassandra said she's here and she stayed to be able to keep learning how to see herself and other people better so that she can create something that will meet a need, is sustainable, and will last. Chris Foster said, oh no, Chris Foster's cracking jokes.
No, well, he still likes the Lakers, so he might be like to be in class and accept that they lose, I can still be here. I mean, that might be something he wants to say.
I can't say his joke. Angela said to determine my why and learn from other successful entrepreneurs.
Super dope.
Kimberly Brown said, I've been around Black businesses my entire life. After my first class, I had hope. What I was witnessing wasn't the way it had to be.
Oh, wow. Fire.
Kevin Allen said, to be of service to my people using art and strategy to problem solve and make this money free from the clutches of demand.
Only he would say that.
Michaela said, I'm here because I want to learn how to turn my passion into a source of income.
Nice.
Tawana said, I'm here so I can grow from self-employed to an entrepreneur.
Nice. All right, Shakina, want to take over?
Yes. Oh, sorry. I was just reading a comment to make sure it wasn't something that I needed to read. Okay. I was just going to say that I think the most valuable thing about this class is the ability to reframe your own personal thoughts and perceptions on how you see things. And one of the biggest shifts that helped me, not just as a person or a mom or a business owner, but just like a being, is in the book that we're about to jump into. Thought it was the dopest shit. They said, we get taught to fear failure. And there's like this whole Silicon Valley thing of like failing forward. And it's like, it's not about failing forward. It's because that's the wrong way of approaching it, because we're taught to think about fear in a completely negative way of it being a bad thing, like failure is bad. And what's hella dope about the Hope community and being an entrepreneur, and like not just like the bullshit of like having a business. Like my first 5 years I was fucking off, but like legitimately like having a brick and mortar, having to pay taxes, having employees, having like the real tangible things, is like when I failed, I had to own it, and I had to be able to let go of my fears of looking stupid, because I'm the first person to throw myself under the bus to figure out something, because my lifeline is on the line if I don't forfeit my ego to ask the question. And I've had so many people be like, yo, you be asking questions that I would never ask because I feel like I'm gonna look stupid. And I'm like, what would look even stupider is if I spent this last 10 years building a business and then that shit closed because my ego was too big to ask a stupid question, quote unquote. And so the idea of getting comfortable with understanding that it's not about looking stupid or asking a bad question. It's about how are you learning how to ask the right questions so that you can move yourself and your business in the lane moving forward, so you can make some changes and impact. And that's going to determine how much you get out of the class, is your willingness to sacrifice the perception of how you show up in the world, because that's going to change your impact. So failing forward is like actually succeeding forward, because you're learning from all of the things that you didn't know, which none of us know everything. So when you can open up and say, hey, I'm vulnerable and I don't know these things, and I got this big mastermind beehive group of people that might know these things, if I can just put myself aside, I'm not only going to help myself, but I'm going to help everyone in the group by lowering myself from a pedestal to move forward. And I think that that's the power of the group, is we can all learn from each other's mistakes. So please go throw yourself under the bus, quote unquote, fail forward, quote unquote, but understand that that sacrifice is necessary for us all to grow. And you're not going to grow if you stay safe. You will not grow if you stay within your comfort zone. So.
Okay. Thank you, Shakina. I really appreciate that.
Hey, I got one thing now.
Oh, Fern. Oh, shit. Okay, hold on.
I won't say the word. I won't say it this year. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say the prefix. This is just Fern, our partner.
Okay, yeah. My partner has partner. Fern. My sister, too. Fern, go ahead.
Thank you, everyone. We love you. The reason.
Excuse me, Kaja, can she wear your fur when she speaks? Somehow it's more complimenting. Okay, I ain't gonna say nothing.
Hey, don't. Come on.
Man.
Hell of a, by the way, y'all, those of y'all online, Fern, if you can see her at home, hell of an entrepreneur. Go ahead.
Why, thank you.
Hell of an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Humble as shit. Try and get hers.
I'm trying very hard. But the reason I come back, the class continues to grow year over year. And so the things you thought you knew are being taught completely different the next year. So now, this year, I'm dumbass excited because Nana was like, wait till next year. And I'm like, fuck, I'm coming to class next year because shit, I ain't finna miss that shit. I'm catching up on classes from last year. Like, ooh. So it's just like the growth of the class, and then watching Court and Nana as well, in our peers in the class continue to grow their businesses. You get to see it in real time. And so that's like something that is priceless. It's absolutely priceless. So I'm juiced to see what 2023 has in store for us.
Right on. That's
Dope.
for That's for hey, y'all understand. You know how y'all grew up in a certain neighborhood, and then you got those folks y'all was born around. Now, me and Fern wasn't born around each other, but it feels like we were born around each other. So when I see her, she gets that like neighborhood type of love. So Fern is one of my we got deep love for her.
Absolutely.
Can you write back the slides for me real quick, Shabisha? Just minimize the screen, you know what I'm saying?
Black people, a lot of times, us as black folks, we got these rules and these stigmas around money, and it's tough to be an entrepreneur when you don't talk about money. But we raised not to talk about money because money was such a sore subject in a lot of our households that you never knew what the bills were in your parents' house or your mom's house. You never seen nothing about bills or money, so you are ingrained to not talk about money. But as an entrepreneur, start talking about money. It's not an embarrassment. It's not we're entrepreneurs. We're all growing. Talk about money. So, so when we get into conversations, you're like, okay, so how are you doing? How'd you do last year? I did better than the year before. Okay, but that doesn't help give me no context of what you're doing so that I know where to gauge from. Like, did you make some sales? Well, I got some contacts. Numbers is what helps you. And once you start getting comfortable with your numbers, you'll watch your numbers change. Yeah. Once you start speaking on your numbers, you watch your numbers change. Once you start being honest about your numbers, then it allows your numbers to grow because you can act on it. Lying to yourself about shit is the fastest way to go broke. Because faking the funk and talking about shit and doing share the same mental resources. So when you're like, yeah, no, I'm cool, yeah, I'm good, I'm doing cool, we doing good. Your brain says, oh, you are? Okay, well then cool then. I don't need to work that hard then. And that's how you end up. But being honest and say, look, last year I made $4.83. Hey, let's grow on that. Let's compound on that. Now we got a number. But our group, our community, we don't do that shit. Like, we were raised to do that as black folks, but this group, we talk about our numbers, just so you know.
Yeah, Kaja was all the time. Go ahead.
Just to add to that, Court, I love that you said that because this goes back to that list actually. And for the new people and returning people, I want to add to, this is why it's so good to ask questions and being honest with ourselves, because that helps us get unstuck. That's one of the main reasons why I do ask silly questions, challenging questions, and I want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable doing that with these two guys and gals, Shabisha and everybody, because it really does help you get unstuck. I went over Court's office not too long ago, and we were talking about something, and that's actually one of the questions he asked me, and I told him. Years ago, I would have never did that. Even outside of the group, I used to feel uncomfortable doing that because it's like, just made a little bit, we doing all right, made a little couple dollars, but I would never be too specific because one, it was embarrassing, or two, it was ego, or I just didn't know how to do it. But the only way to get unstuck and to move forward in this game is to be honest with yourself to be specific, to talk them numbers, and to not be afraid to just ask fucking questions constantly. And when you said that, it just really triggered. And I think you guys have really made it okay. I can't speak for everybody, but for me to ask these questions that have really made me unfucking stuck. That's why I can't wait to read this book, by the way. But everyone should just take a page from that book and be like, yo, if there's a question on your mind, just ask them. Don't be afraid, because it will definitely get you to that next level. Now I'm so comfortable talking about my numbers, and I'm like, shit, next year I'm trying to, this year I'm trying to double that. Well, Tone, what's the number? I'm gonna tell you the number. And okay, cool. Let me help you try to figure that out. So there's no embarrassment, there's no judgment. Just don't be afraid to do that shit. Ask the questions, be open and honest, and we are gonna climb this motherfucking mountain together.
Hell yeah.
And it's different. Let me say this. There's a moral difference between defining yourself like chasing money for the sake of money and chasing money to have impact.
Like the sister in the back.
Yeah. It's like if you chasing money just for money, like you see a lot of hip hop artists. It's like, I need money for status, right? That destroys you. That will destroy you. I think that's when you're talking about it's harder to get into heaven, because you define money. You live your life for money, right? You willing to forsake people for money. You willing to stab your brother for money, right? And you look at life through just money. I can say honestly, for the way we teach, and the brother sit next to me and my business partner, money is part of the equation, but it's not like you build a cake and all you just keep pouring in is sugar. And then you wonder why nobody eats your fucking cake, or the cake is causing so much diabetes. Sugar has to be one of the ingredients, and in some cases even reduction of it to really maximize the flavor of the product, right? And so money becomes part of the equation of what we're doing, but you have to talk about, you need to add sugar. You can't be like, give me that white stuff over there. Well, how much? Just put something in there. I don't really want to talk about it because I don't feel good about it, right? It's like you got to get comfortable with money so you can also tear down the psychology of money, which is something that we're going to also cover in this class, is psychology of money.
Yo, so just quickly on that note, it wasn't always that way. Coming from poverty, extreme poverty, being broke and poor from the town, your goal as a kid is to get out of poverty, and the way you solve it is getting rich, right? One day I am gonna get rich. I'm gonna get my mom out the hood. Like, that's my car, that's my car, that's my car. We live in the rat and roach infested shit, and I look up and it's the hills. Like, your brain is wired to have an extreme desire for money. So I was a hustler. So if you're a hustler, you can go get that shit. So the thing is, that was my only motivation, money. So it wasn't always this psychology is a newer version. Back then, like this is my second company. So my first company, I'm giving a fuck about nothing but this money. Let's get this money. I'm getting it. And then I want the status that come with it. Let's get it. And so the problem with that is, if you are fortunate enough to get it, then it can consume you and you will lose your identity in it. So then if something occurs where you may lose it, then you lose yourself too.
Oh my God.
So next thing you know, you are doing hella shit for the money that you normally wouldn't do, because you've lost your identity. So and that happened to me. First company, I got to $1 million too, as well. But then I start making greedy decisions based on wanting to continue to build that without a long game. So then I ended up allowing all of that shit to crash, all the way on down to broke, to EBT broke. Most of y'all here know the story. But so I had to be humbled and know that on the next go round, money's a tool. Money's just a tool. It's something what are you using it for? So the why are you here? Nobody was like, I'm here just to get rich, motherfucker. Nobody said that.
Yeah.
You have to use it as a tool.
I'm going to do 2 more slides and we're going home. Hit the next slide. We come back down. Hit the next slide. Oh, so this is what I want you guys to. This is so important. Change is not easy. In this class, you're gonna change. You're gonna change. You're gonna change. And I'm gonna talk you. This is the stages of change, and I want you to pay attention to this because it's so important. Because we're gonna lose some of you. I think at number 6. This is what's gonna happen. So you join this class. You like, yeah, let's do this. Ready? Let's do this. I signed up. Now I pay my money. I'm juiced. Let's get this shit going, right? You hyped up. You telling your friends, yo, yeah, I'm doing this entrepreneur shit. I'm about to change the world with this shit. I'm about to, I got some things going on, right? Then you say, then you walk around and you feel a little bit of the friction, and you walk around going, yeah, this is part of change. I'm feeling it, I'm making a healthy change in my life. I'm changing my lifestyle. I'm done some of the friends who ain't really working for me right now. Changing my environments. I ain't fucking with y'all no more. I ain't smoking that weed. I'm out of here. I'm about to do my thing, right? You playing all these knowledgeable books in your car. You're like, yo, I don't play that hip hop like that no more. I'm playing audio books. So if you don't want to play audio books, drive your own goddamn car, right? You done got to a point you kind of flexing on people, right? And then one day, I'm going to say something, and your brain's going to say, ouch. Fuck, that kind of hurt, Nana. But you say, okay, cool. Then you're going to read it, like, say, the ego book again. You're like, no, seriously, Nana, ouch. That kind of really hurt, right? Then you'll be in class one day. You'll be like, man, it's been 3 hours and shit. I got shit to do. This is a lot of time, man. I'm spending 9 hours a week on this entrepreneur shit. I mean, I want to do that shit like in 2 hours a week. So I think I want to give up because this shit, like Nana saying shit that's kind of crazy. Plus, I feel like he attacked me. He don't even know me, but he don't disrespect. Like, I come from the hood. We care about our salads and shit. And he don't tell me don't put all that salad dressing on there. You don't know me, right? Then you'll be like, fuck it, sot. Fine. I'm out. I'm going to come to some classes. I ain't going to come to all the classes. And then I see you on the streets, like, yo, you watch the class? Yeah, I be online, man. What class you watch? Like the one you did like 3 months ago. I saw that one. You were like, shit. You reading the books? Yeah, I'm going to get to it, man. I'm going to read it. But as soon as I get some shit, I cleared up my life. I'm good because really you're saying this shit hurts. I don't like this shit. Then you were like, okay, I'm going to get this book. I'm going to go get this book again. And you look into the book, you're going, this shit hella boring. Damn. All these white people trying to tell me words and shit. Where are the black books? There got to be a brother named Tyrone who wrote a deep-ass, like, educational book and shit. Some shit got to be easier. Like, they got this shit like 2 or 3 steps or some shit. All these damn steps. I can't remember this shit. I'm supposed to remember this shit. Trying to treat entrepreneurship like it's directions. Then one day you sit in class, you're like, I didn't have a good childhood. My life is fucked up. Money fucked up. I'm even looking at a motherfucker next to me. I don't even want to be with this motherfucker. I hate this entrepreneur shit. This shit's hard. What if I get out there and don't make no money? What if I go inside, like I tried to sell some shit the other day and people didn't even buy my shit. I was spent $500 to be there. Nobody even bought my shit. I don't know if I even want to do this shit no more. And then all of a sudden, you know what? It's rough, but I sold a couple items. I don't feel as bad as I used to feel. It's starting to feel kind of good. And then this is if you stay this long, this is what happened. You know what? This shit actually doesn't suck. Now, the next level to that, what you don't know, is it gets better. Here's a rule that I didn't put on there, but I want to highlight. You cannot have meaning without suffering. You cannot have meaning without suffering. Many of you have sat around every day of your life because you listen to pop culture and you engineered all forms of suffering out of your life. And then you wander around, you sit in class, go, no, I don't know what my purpose and my meaning is because you avoid suffering. The only difference between fasting and starvation is a choice. But fasting gives you a reward, and you get your reward through suffering. Yet, in this class, if you avoid the suffering again, as you have always done, do you know that one of the major causes of suicide is lack of meaning? It's a bad space to be in, people. Your mental health depends on you suffering for something you believe in, something you want to do. That's why entrepreneurs who've been doing this gives us life. And if you, and we're smart. Even, okay, let me make it simple. Parenting. If you really, I ain't talking about your babysitters. I'm talking about your parents. Because some of y'all just babysitters masking yourself as parents. But parents who sat there, was bored as fuck playing with them blocks, would say, I'm going to stay here and make my child happy. Who was up at night taking care of them when was sick when you had a business meeting in the next morning. Who was there walking up and down the street with your child and your arms are sore as hell. But that gave you the value and meaning of parenting. This is not a class meant for us to help you avoid all the discomforts and do that pop culture ass shit that you see out there. This is a class that's going to ground you to real life. And as a human being, you need some of this bad shit for your life to be complete.
Yo, that was fire. I just got to say that. Here's the beauty of suffering. It's temporary. It's temporary. Poverty is not. Being broke is not. Having a fucked up job, that sucks. It's a long game. But temporary suffering is exactly what it is. Here at Hope, we get you comfortable with the uncomfortable. The other translate word for uncomfortable is suffering. And if you preemptively or proactively suffer, it's a choice. And now you work in the muscle. And that's the beauty of it, because if you get stronger over here, you're stronger over here. If you get stronger here, you're stronger down here, because it's a circle. It's cyclical, because you're expanding. It's not linear, you're expanding. So the minute you get out your comfort zone and get comfortable being uncomfortable outside your comfort zone, because it's a circle, the whole circle gets bigger. So I love, like, you become, what they call that? Masochist. You seek it because you know it's going to level you up at some point.
And the key thing here was stages of breaking a habit. Your life is full of habits that don't work for you. It is easy for you when you get to stage number 6 to go back to that old habit and try to make that habit work.
And here's another question. Why in America, where we have the most wealth, the most comforts, the most, all the food we can ever ask for, the living conditions, why are we the most depressed when we have all of these comforts? It's because we've trained ourselves to run from discomfort. And once you equalize and adapt to whatever situation that you are in, you forget that there's way shit that's worse down there. So you're like, man, I don't want to reach for the remote. They should invent something that you could just look at your remote or just say, TV turn on. Oh, they just did it. Here comes Siri, right? We invent shit that make us lazier and lazier and lazier. And over time, we've lazied our asses to where any slight variation from complete stagnation causes depression now. In entrepreneurship, that ain't gonna fly. So you gonna feel this, all of these. And we can see it from here too.
All the time.
We can see from the crowd what stage everyone is, because motherfuckers was like, oh my God, whatever, blood, whatever. Oh, you at that stage, you know what I'm saying? Or when you like at the super, like, the jumpy, super excited stage, that's gonna wear off soon, because at some point. And then when you see, like, when Nana slaps somebody in the face with some truth, and you see like they puppy dog eyes get big and the tears start coming down, you're like, oh shit, you must have had a talk with Nana. Huh? You ain't feeling it. Oh, now you're like, fuck Nana. I get you. That's all good, because we all go through the stages. That's how we grow. And this ain't living if we ain't doing this.
I was just saying, like, in the stages too, like Nana was saying earlier, it's not like you get to some point in your business and you arrive and then everything from there is easy. It's like you're in a cyclone and like you could start here and then 1 year you notice you got the same ass goals the next year, but you might be forward or behind. But the stages are like a cycle. So you're going to feel the same stages every time you get to another level of the same goal. Like you could start off in pre-K and 10 years later you going into high school and you're still going to go through the same feelings every time you got to level up. So like getting comfortable with that suffering and understanding that no growth happens unless you go through pain. Like just accept it, bear, grit it, whatever you got to do. Get some friends to talk about it if you're sensitive, and get your ass in the game, because you're going to for the rest of your life that you're trying to run a business, suffer. But you're going to benefit from it.
And you got to, and what you do is do a cost analysis. How much does it cost to stay the same? And what's the cost of the change? And if you do that cost analysis, you'll find that will help you see it's more valuable for the change. And the change is relative to whatever that change is. But and we're going to get deeper into these habits and the psychology of what's happening to you and how to even sense the process of your brain trying to say, hey, that's enough. But trust me, this is going to be a repeated process. But after a while, you expect that process to unfold, and it's no longer like. So I'll give you an example. Take it to working out. Look at those principles. Tell me you don't go through the same thing when it comes to working out. And some days you go to the gym. When you first join the gym, you're all excited and shit. Then you can start working on your diet and stuff like this. Then one day you come home, you hella sore. No, seriously, I was hella sore. I had to give me some Tylenol and everything. Then you like, man, this training crazy. I'm about to give this shit. I'm about to quit. Then you go into like, fine. I try a little bit longer. And then this shit's starting to get boring. We keep doing the same routine. Can we change that routine? This routine kind of boring now. Then you like, I'm not losing weight fast enough. This is depressing. I don't have to go through all this pain every day, and I still got a stomach. I don't make no goddamn sense. And then all of a sudden, you lose a little bit of weight, or you go on a vacation and you're able to walk in front of all your friends, or you're able to do something that you haven't been able to do in 5 years. Like, I guess it ain't so bad. And then all of a sudden you start saying, you know what, this doesn't suck too. You're starting to like this. That's how this shit is going to work in every habit in your life, period.
Hey, I got one for you. One of you out there, you at Starbucks or whatever, getting your little coffee, and a brother walks up to you. Hey, how you doing? What's your name? And you're like, my name is whatever my name is.
He about to go there. He about to go there.
So you size him up. Y'all have a conversation, and he is everything that you want. Y'all go on dates. Next thing you know, you make this relationship more formal, and you are just in heaven. Let's do this. I'm happy. Oh my God, this is amazing. I found him. All you see is just love, right? Next thing you know, y'all get into it. Have that little argument. Ouch, that shit hurts. Now all that little hero worship comes down and you see all his flaws and shit. And you're like, damn, this really hurts. Because now everything you say gets on my nerves. And this reminds me of our last relationship. I don't want to be here no more. I want to get out. I'm out. But now we just moved in together. And now I got to move all my shit out. And
you hear him, Shabisha?
Then you like, you know what? I'll just tolerate him right now. And you get into the routine and y'all go to work. You wake up, go to work, go to work, food. And there's this routine, and it's not Instagram scrollable shit. Y'all ain't out there on vacations with the spinnable 360 videos and shit. You are working every fucking day and surviving and living. And you're like, this is not the life that I wanted with the person, with myself. It's just whack. It's boring. It's like, this ain't it. And everything that you started off at one ain't where you are right now, because that's the cycle. And now, then one day you sick, and he comes in and says, oh, I got some soup for you. Here's some this. Here's some to drink. Here's some orange juice for you. Let me get the remote for you. Let me get the TV. And you're like, oh shit, I guess it ain't that bad. And if you stick around, you can build up on the rest.
And a relationship is what? This doesn't suck.
Doesn't suck.
That's real. I swear to God, on everything. Because if you want everything to stay at number 1, 2, and 3, and the 1 and 2, man, you're a pimp. You because everybody gonna go through that process. I don't give a shit how fine they are. I don't give a shit how famous, how much money they got. I don't care much how good they are in the sack. You're gonna go through that process because that's how your brain works. Ouch. All right, hit the last book. So we just go to where we work, the books we're working on. We'll get the other slides next class.
Kaja got that stank face at us. Why she looking at us like that? Why she looking at us like that? She like,
you see, I ain't gonna look at it. I'm like, I'm just gonna change the slides, Shabisha. Don't give me no damn
like,
change the goddamn slides, Shabisha.
that's a Thea's face. That's a Thea's face.
I'm trying to go home safely.
She got the Thea's face on.
Yeah. I'm driving the Volkswagen Bug today. Don't be scratching my car. Hey, you can change slide? Oh, there's no more slides in this?
That's the last slide.
Oh, okay. Go back a slide. Just make sure it's go back both ways.
Oh, it's this one. Was an entrepreneur exercise.
Okay, get another slide. Okay, scroll down. What is entrepreneur? Keep going. We get to that. Go ahead, keep going. Okay, keep going. All right, this is it right here. So here's our 2 books. Everybody focus in. Here's our 2 books. One by Britt Franks, one by Dave Gray. Dave Gray is going to be the main book we're going to teach in class. The Britt Franks is for those of you who have ever felt stuck, been stuck, or feel like you are stuck. If you're trying to do the transition from having a job to being an entrepreneur, you need to know about how the brain works and what is causing you to be stuck. This is a stuck book. We're not going to be clinical psychologists in Hope this year, even though a lot of class has a lot of psychology and self-help and self-development and leadership development. We're not going to try to replace Sankofa, which is the Black psychologist organization located around the lake. This is going to be solely focused on the psychology around stuck, right? And the goal of this is to give you different options to get things moving, get things flowing, and you're going to always be stuck as an entrepreneur. It won't be stuck one time. I can promise you as an entrepreneur, you will experience stuck all the time. So this is going to just increase awareness. This book also, me and Shabisha had a conversation late last night. This book is not meant for you to check off right, wrong. This book is not meant for you to remember every word. It's now you know where the information is so you can reference, so you can process, so you can practice. Number 3, in all fairness, she's going to tell you this is a methodology for helping you become unstuck. But there's also different methodologies depending on some of the challenges some of you guys are dealing with. If you come out of if you're in a deep oppressed environment, you're going to have different challenges. I would be like, Court's going to solve that one for you, but I'm sure he is working on that, and that's all honest, that truth. But you're going to have different challenges. But as you get into this game as an entrepreneur, I can promise you there's so many things like shadow intelligence, adulting, parenting and family, how to redefine the old focus around family. Your sex life is included in this. There's so many different things that you will be surprised. Do not think you could put entrepreneurship in its own Puritan category and your life and these different segments and different categories. It all bleeds into each other and impacts each other. If you're in with a relationship with somebody and you hate the sex life you have, it's going to impact the way you're showing up in your office. I know that sounds crazy. It sounds far-reaching, but you'll find out as you learn more about this entrepreneur stuff, it's absolutely not far-reaching. And we're not trying to be raunchy or playful. We're trying to get into like the real, like we're looking at you as a holistic human being and how these different things are impacting decisions you're making in the game. Meaning that if you ever watch basketball players, if their life is in absolute disarray, you're going to hear the coach talk about get your head in the game. Get your head in the game. If your head gets outside the game, you will start to underperform in the game that you're playing called entrepreneurship. So that being said, thank you guys for sharing this class with us. Class will we will have a next class. We have class next Wednesday. Yeah, class is next Wednesday. I will please join the class. You could join the class. Can they join the class without the paying up, or is it all just pay now? Yeah, okay, so the first month is free, so but you still need to sign up, right? If you're going to sign up, you'll get billed in February. But in the portal, it will have instructions on our homework. We're going to be, and then Shabisha and Shakina will have something ready for you within a week or two, announcing their first Zoom get together around discussing the book Stuck. And we will put a little bit of it in the class. I'll pull certain pieces out of it to kind of saturate the class. But as we get into liminal thinking, we're going to slow down a little bit, cover less subjects, and actually create exercises and conversations for us to own this book. So when we get through this book, you can almost teach the book for yourself. And if you can teach the book, that means you can also teach yourself when you're in battle. Got it? So with that being said, I'm Nana Kofi.
Court Smith. Peace.
Wow. Have a good night, y'all. Love y'all. Peace.